All right, it's being live streamed.
Okay, I think we're live, people. All right, so let me post this link.
Says setting up your meeting for YouTube.
In
Done.
2020, what stocks did well?
No, that wasn't it. Where are we live on YouTube? Not on our channel. What did you connect it to?
Yeah, it's on Freelancer Finance.
I can't. I don't see it. I don't see the live link.
Hold on. Come on.
Mr. Market goes up. Is that it?
No,
No, that's not it.
it should be Freelancer Finance Live 030523. I just sent you a link.
I mean, I'm looking at Freelancer Finance right now.
Just click the link I just sent you.
No, I know, but I'm looking. I'm looking at it's where it's supposed to be live, and it's not there.
Here we go.
You know, we have a channel, content videos live. It should be under live.
Yeah, Johnny Boy's in. Yeah, he's in. Hey, what's up, Johnny Boy? He's there.
Okay. I guess.
Let me see.
I guess.
Yeah, go right there. You have to refresh the page. Refresh the page. Live, Freelancer Finance Live 030523. We're in. Let me see if I can see the chat. I just saw it for a second. There we go. YouTube link. Boom.
All right, so send it to me. Let me see it.
I did in the chat. Here, I'm gonna send it to.
Not in Finance Junkies. Okay, you did it in the
Yeah.
other one.
Yeah. There you go. All right, so we should be live.
All right, you want to name this something? Go ahead, name it something.
What are we doing
See if
today?
I can.
Well, it depends. I mean, if Chris is coming in, I think we should talk to him about what we had on the group chat, that he's like really come around to Enphase, the future of solar and EV. Oh, Chris is writing. Oh, he has to update his Zoom. Anyway, if he comes on, we should talk about that. But if he doesn't come on, we should talk about something different.
I'm posting it right now on Twitter. Let me just post that up.
And
Live.
Discord.
Freelancer Finance. What are we going to discuss? We're going to discuss Enphase and Tesla, but probably starting with Tesla because.
And let's just talk about Investor Day.
Yeah.
I actually have a little
PDF, by the way. I brought up Investor Day PDF. Maybe we go through that.
Yeah, there's one particular thing. I mean, I was going to talk to you about this on the side anyway, but I figure we can do it now. I have something open in Photoshop that I wanted to talk to you about. Actually, I should take. No, I could do that in Photoshop. It's fine. All right, so he's there. Why don't we just get started because,
yeah,
I want to share my screen. Check this out. All right, so you can see. Oh, Chris is in. Hold on, Chris just joined.
This is why I like using StreamYard because I to look at comments I got to go jump to YouTube, but luckily only one person is there. So
Let me look at comments.
Welcome, Johnny Boy.
Text messages. It's
oh, two people are there. Two people are there.
All right. I mean, honestly, this is just for us.
Well, obviously, we don't publicize anything. Nobody knows.
Nothing. We just sit here and just bullshit.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
What's up, Chris?
Basically, a live Patreon.
I don't think I've ever used Zoom like to do like a stream like this before. It's actually better. I like it.
There's a lot of things that I do like about Zoom, but there's some really nice things I like about StreamYard.
Yeah, I can't see the comments, so it's annoying. You got to jump between that.
That is annoying. Yeah, for sure.
So here's a question with
How's it going,
Zoom.
Chris?
It's good. I'm just saying, I didn't know that you could link Zoom directly to YouTube.
Yeah, they
That's
have
awesome.
that little go
Yeah,
live.
once you set it up, there's a button at the bottom. You just say go live to YouTube, signs into your account, sets up the whole thing for you. It's actually pretty
So today we'll have a tutorial on go live on Zoom because we still don't know how to do it right.
One day, guys.
Whatever, it worked. It worked.
Didn't you say you were in Atlanta? You were going to Atlanta today?
Yeah, I'm actually home now. This is my apartment. This is my
So he
apartment.
lives in Atlanta. I didn't know this, by the way. He lives in Atlanta and commutes to New York, right? Which I didn't understand the first time. I thought you were going to move to Atlanta, buy a beautiful house after you invested in Meta, and that took off. And then after that took off, then you would buy a beautiful house in Atlanta. That's what I thought was going to happen. But you already live there, so
Yeah. No, I have condos in both places. I have a condo in New York and a condo in Atlanta. So now we're gonna buy a house in Atlanta. So we're probably gonna sell my place in New York because at this point, actually starting today, I'm working from home, like from Atlanta. So they just approved me for remote work. So
Oh wow, that is amazing.
yeah.
So
Get to
that's
spend more time with the wife. No more commuting. Yep.
I mean,
I'm
that's good.
yeah.
And you get to
I'm
use
gonna
it more.
Yeah, I'm gonna commute, but it's gonna be like once a month now. So, and it's only gonna be for a few days here and there. So it's not like a lot like before, where I used to go home every week.
Mm. No, that's good. Are they doing it to save money? Why are they doing that for you?
One, I agreed to work a shift no one else wanted to work, so that definitely is one of the things. And the other thing is, it's just everyone knew my situation that I was flying back and forth. So my boss was like, "Look, you paid your dues. Let's make it work."
Okay, that's
So
nice.
yeah.
I
As
hope
someone
that
who's been
lasts.
working from home since 2020, I don't think I could ever go back.
Someone who's not allowed to work from home, by the way.
This
They
guy.
expect me there, wherever
Yeah.
that is. I have to go there, and it's sort of obnoxious, of course. I
I mean,
spend 5 hours commuting some days.
that's true. But the other night I was grinding on this thing at like 4 a.m. and I was thinking, I actually thought about you and I was like, the trade-off is that at 4 a.m. you're always sleeping. Like there's no chance that you're up doing some work.
If it's a late night shoot, I'm
Late
not.
night shoot's different story, but like you'll never deal with that. There's a flip side to it. There's pros and cons to both. Like when you get home, you're home.
Yeah,
There's
for the
nothing
2 hours I'm home, yeah, it's great.
yeah, I mean, but I basically live in this chair, like literally live in this chair. It's like chocolate. What is it? Clockwork Orange. you know.
That's not too bad.
Yeah.
Okay, besides
Anyway.
complaining about our day jobs, let's discuss, I guess, Tesla and Enphase because Tesla had an investor day. Do you want to go through the deck? Is that what we want to do? Or you wanted to share something, Carlos?
Well, yeah, I do. I definitely want to share something related to Investor Day. But first of all, like, I think the big news this week is that Chris capitulated. Chris texted on the group, the WhatsApp group, that he is now, I think your Enphase bulls or your Enphase horns are growing, or what's the deal?
So based on the research, and a lot of it had to do with the investor day that Elon did with Tesla, I think we're getting to the point where solar is a lot more palatable right now. I looked at some of the pricing on solar. It's come down significantly. So now it's a question of who's going to be providing the resources to enable like solar to work, right? If you think about the total cost of energy production when it comes to like getting that shit taken out of the ground, refining it, transporting it, all the stuff, versus just putting a solar panel on a roof, attaching a battery to it, letting it charge, it's a no-brainer, right? The biggest challenge to solar adoption.
In fact, it's kind of dumb how simple it is.
Did you also see how he outlined the fact that after you do all of that and expend all of that cash to get the gas, you still only get about 25% of the actual energy from it usable to turn the wheels in the car. The rest of it's just dissipated in terms of heat.
Yeah.
You're doing all that extra work for very little efficiency.
That was the crazy thing when I saw like, wait a second, only 20% efficiency. It was like, wow. And I think what it is, the infrastructure is now catching up to the point where electrification of cars is no longer like a thing of possibility. It's like, it's 100% going to happen. There's just too much innovation in the space happening to let it not become like the standard thing. And I agree. I think what's going to happen is, and this is the part that is probably going to shock a lot of people. And it's probably shocked a lot of people back in like the 1920s when people went from horse carriage to like the car, right? A lot of people thought, oh yeah, that's going to take like a 50-year transition. But when you have a technology that's super like, it's almost like right now it's cheaper technically. EVs, I think at this point are at gas ICE car parity. And within the next 5 years, they're actually probably going to be more cost effective than an ICE car. And we're all going to be wondering like, wait a second, why the hell were we running around with, dinosaur juice in the cars? Like it's going to be one of those moments. And I think Tesla being on the forefront of that is going to capture a significant amount of that market share. And from what I saw during Investor Day, and this is, maybe you guys can explain this to me. Why were so many Uber Tesla bulls like they didn't like the presentation? I thought it was a freaking amazing presentation. They showed off how much better they are than the competitors and how much in the lead they are and all the pricing power that they have versus everyone else. I thought that was like crazy. When I was watching it, maybe I was watching with like the expectation of an outsider versus them where they have like these grandiose expectations. And so now their level of expectation is like here, like, oh,
well, I think it's
yeah.
this Model 2 nonsense that's going around that it's because everybody, and I was saying this even on the pod that I did with Amit with the cowbell thing, that there's not going to be a Model 2 for years and years and years. Okay, so everybody who's thinking about this and pricing this in, are you crazy? Elon never delivers on time. He delivers, it's just not on time. It's going to be 2, 3, 4 years from now. So I feel a lot of people don't believe that this takes a long time to actually accomplish. Do you know what I'm saying? Like they think, oh, like right now, even on Rab Mauer's channel, they're like, maybe we can scale this faster than Shanghai plant. I think which plant is that? The Shanghai plant, right? Is that the one the Gigafactory in Shanghai? Am I right?
That's
The
doing
China
what?
plant. The China plant.
What about it?
Took less than 9 months to make. So now there's this thing going around that, oh, this will be less than 9 months to build a whole Gen 4 manufacturing facility. Are you guys crazy? Like,
But Elon said it. Elon said it would be because the footprint of the factory is smaller.
listen,
It's a physically
we know what
smaller-
happens. We know what happens. That was a fluke because you're in China. It's a special situation.
You're in Mexico. You're saying, wait, but now you're in Mexico. They're going to get it built in 4 months.
It'll just collapse. It'll just collapse.
Right, but then it'll collapse. No, I think it's going to be built in 4 months. Are you kidding me?
No. This is going to take a while to get those pieces. By the way, the whole manufacturing line that he had, the way the manufacturing line will work and the pieces are built, they have the plan to do that, then to put the cart together at the end. I think you saw this, Chris, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's another part of this problem. It's not just the factory part. That's figuring out how to
But
do that
but
correctly.
they also said that they have an in-house factory building team. Like when they go build a
Yeah,
factory, it's
of
an
course.
in-house team that goes and builds every
So
single.
you're
factory.
saying in 9 months they're producing this Gen 4 car. This is what you're telling me?
No. Not in 9 months they won't be producing the car, but within 10 months I would completely.
Sure, there's a building up,
That's-
fine, but they're not
that's
producing any
building.
cars. 9 months is when they produced the actual Tesla started pumping out of, even in small quantity, the Model Ys out of the Shanghai factory.
Initially, they
I'm
might do
saying-
battery production, but they're not going to be doing anything. They're not going to be building the next generation platform until they're ready to announce it.
Well, this
first
is
of all,
years away.
why would you want to cannibalize an already successful product that you have significant margin in, right? Because when you come up
Not
with
going to
this new-
cannibalize anything.
no, but that's what I'm saying. If you
vehicle.
come up,
Had they have announced, here's the Model 2, it's $25,000 and has
yeah,
270-mile-an-hour range. The next day, all the pre-orders that they have are cut in
Yeah,
half. It wouldn't
exactly.
have made
Model
sense.
3. You're saying Model 3 drops off the map. That's what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was actually something that I'll just bring this up in the background while you guys are talking, and I'll share. Go ahead.
But to your point, Chris, that's what I think a lot of people expect, that everything happens overnight. And Elon is giving a 10-year plan. He's telling us what's going to happen over the next decade. So when I was hoping he would not even talk about the Model 2, and I've said this, like he should not talk about directly. He did mention the Gen 4 platform and what they're doing, and this is the scaling, but he didn't say it's coming out, it's happening in 2 years, like he did with the Cybertruck and the Semi and the Roadster. I'm glad he didn't do that. I think he's learned his lesson there, and I was actually happy about that. I realize when I'm investing in Tesla, I have to hold it till 2030 plus. You know, I understand that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't actually understand that because they want to be rich tomorrow. Let's face it. We all want to be, big stars. And,
well, the other thing is that the $25,000 car requires them to have other things go right. Now, some of the things are happening, which is good, which is lithium prices are actually coming down significantly. But if right now the total battery cost is going to cost you between maybe $10,000 and $20,000, that leaves you with very little margin for the rest of the stuff. So I think you have to give it the time it needs in order to like get the lithium part done too. Like I thought the best things to me, the most attractive part of the whole thing was probably the battery packs, which I think are going to be a huge revenue driver for them going into the future. Because I just see so many use cases for it all over the place. And on top of that, then the semis and all this other stuff, and then also the charging infrastructure. So I think Tesla's got what I saw was they have a roadmap that's actually going to be very, what's the word? Very broad. Right? A lot of people thinking, oh yeah, Tesla is just a car company. Well, clearly based on this presentation, that's a moot point. It's no longer just a car company.
We actually know exactly. We actually know what percentage the car
Yeah.
company is now. They said that
Yeah.
say overall in terms of shifting the world to sustainable energy, it's 21% or 31%. They had a slide. So there's actually a much bigger market out there that they are addressing, trying to
Yeah.
switch the world over to energy. And the part that people are focused on is 20 or 30%. I forgot which one it was. But just to talk about the 50K, the Model Y, or the Model 2, This is something I saw from Sawyer Merritt. This was actually a really good report Morgan Stanley put out. But Adam Jones also said that people shouldn't be disappointed that the next gen vehicle wasn't unveiled. From our experience, auto companies don't typically unveil far cheaper and potentially better engineered products and so far in advance of SOP. Imagine you just placed an order for a $50,000 Model Y and Tesla tells you there'll be a slightly smaller version for half the price with enhanced capabilities coming soon. From a commercial standpoint, maybe not the best strategy. You know, Musk stressed at the beginning, before the event, that this was not, so I hear myself now, well, that he stressed that this was not an investor day, like a Tesla specific investor day. This was not a vehicle announcement. This was about investors in this energy segment and investing in the future, and discussing the next gen platform is important for them to explain how they're going to lower costs. But it doesn't mean that they have to like physically show a picture of it. It's enough to know that it's coming, and not having a time frame for it is great for existing orders on existing vehicles. For me too, the other thing too is this to me, and I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but this to me showed Tesla's shift from designing a vehicle first and then figuring out the manufacturing, to figuring out the manufacturing and designing vehicles around that. Like Cybertrucks looks the way it does because it's important for them to be able to mass produce these. And I think this next gen vehicle is the same thing. I don't know if you guys picked up on that too. That the supply chain and the speed with which they can produce the vehicles is going to affect and directly inform the design of the vehicle.
Yeah, and also the margins, right? Everything you saw was cost reduction, taking cost incrementally out of the main manufacturing process. So one of two things can happen. Your competitors can try to catch up to you by lowering their own prices. And Musk can just say, oh, well, you know what? We're more efficient. Boom. You end up getting even a cheaper Tesla, right? So now the other car companies won't be able to keep up with you. And there was someone who did a really good video on their Rivian versus a Tesla, and the Tesla is just so much more efficient, to the point where I think they were spending close to like $200 a month in like energy, versus his wife's Tesla, who does like, I think only about
31 bucks. 31 bucks.
Yeah.
And it was I forgot his name, but yes, he has a Tesla channel, Free the Data guy, the Free the Data guy.
Yeah.
It was over $100 on the, like you said, the Rivian, and $31 on the Model Y. And I can attest, by the way, I have a Model Y. I drive it every day. To fill up the tank, 300 miles is $8 for me.
That's kind of, but isn't it kind of not fair? The Rivian's a 9,000 pound pickup truck. They're not really in the same
if you need a pickup truck, obviously, there's two pickup trucks. It's Rivian.
Yeah, but not to that extent. Like almost 3 times the amount.
It's a bigger vehicle. It's less aerodynamic. Yeah. I don't know if that's unfair. I'm just saying that the Teslas are super efficient and super affordable to actually use on a daily basis. And I'm using it on a daily basis and paying even less, because I drive maybe 150 miles a day. So I think I'm spending around $4, $5.
Can you show a picture of the Tesla app, your charging stats right now?
I think I can. Let me see.
Just to get an idea, I'll show you. I'll bring up mine, because this is actually super interesting. I've been doing a good mix of supercharging lately, and I've been having discussions with people on my Plaid channel for that video that I posted about charging stats. So, this is which car is this? This is
maybe it's not clear because I have to show the data exactly, but
either month or year. Show.
Hold on, let me see. Can you see that?
There you go. Yeah.
Is that obvious? What's going on?
Yeah. So $319 saved. You saved.
So it says $319. I guess I put in whatever the gas value was at that point. I'm not sure if it's doing it itself, but it's around $300 saved. I paid around 136 this month. Last 31 days, it says. Last 31 days, 136.
What about year? Go to year. Like your trailing year.
See what year. Yeah, this is doing April to March. I didn't have the car for a year though, so I don't know if this is fair. But it says saved $1,100 in gas.
Let it focus. All right, so Ray, I hold it steady right there. Okay, so you have charged 3,601 kilowatt hours. You've spent 649, and you've saved $1,000. So that would have cost you almost $1,800 if it was gasoline.
I haven't really looked at this app, so I'm not sure what calculations it's getting. I just know I calculated by myself. Right. I paid around $8, maybe $9 for 14 cents a kilowatt hour to fill up a tank of gas at 75 kilowatt hours. So something like that, it cost me to under $10. So let me put it this way.
This is my wife's Y.
Yeah, by the way, we can't see
Oh, we should
because
go. Oh yeah, we should go
because-
wide. We should go
Oh,
big.
yeah.
We're sharing screen. We're sharing little images.
Sorry about that. Yeah, here we
there you
go. So you can see this. So this is my wife's Model Y. Can you see that?
It's hard, but
Yeah.
$608.
So basically, we have spent $608. This is charging the car from April to March 2023. This is a full year. April to March, we've spent $608 charging it for a total of 3,377 kilowatt hours, and we have saved $1,196 over the course of a year, if you can see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty
and this is
nuts.
because we're charging at home too, by the way. Because if we were at a supercharger, it would be different. And
I have a mix of it. I have a mix of it. It's not much, but you can see the red spots, the red spikes are supercharging. And the Model X, I've actually done a lot more supercharging than you think. Now, I've only had this car 6 months, but I've spent $635 charging it, and that includes a good bit of it supercharging, and I've saved $592. So this is on the Model X.
Yeah, and I want to point out another thing my wife has a Model Y for 2 years. I've changed one thing on it. Can you guess what that one thing is?
You've added
Actually,
wiper
two
fluid.
things. I've changed two things. I'll be honest. Yes.
You added wiper fluid and you changed the radio stations.
Wiper fluid, correct. So
Yes.
in 2 years,
Oh, air filter.
Okay, three things. You got Hey, three things. The air filter was, I think, $20, $30. They sell on Amazon, some off-brand. I'm not buying Tesla air filters or anything.
Mhm.
That was like $30.
What about tires? I heard EVs. That's one of the things with tires.
I was going to get there. Yes. So the $30 I spent for the air filters, I spent wiper fluid, which is what, $5? I think twice. Let's say $10. I did that.
You
And
buy the
now
cheap
the
stuff, bro.
tires, we got used tires to replace her tires because she wore out her threads because she drives on gravel a lot, right? And so in 2 years, we did have to replace the tires, and we got used tires for $400. I didn't buy the
Not
$1,300.
bad, actually.
You can buy really good tires for
Yeah,
$1,300.
yeah.
So yes, the tires are probably the biggest expense actually on an EV because they do go faster. That is true. Absolutely true.
I haven't. The thing is, I've been expecting that, but on my wife's Y, have not noticed that.
Maybe she's not driving on gravel.
But she's not. Yes, but then again, then that same thing would happen if you were driving an ICE vehicle on gravel. It's more about driving on gravel than it is the tires. But
Well, it's also a heavier vehicle, right?
It is, and I expected it to wear through it more. But every time I go to service, or you can just do the tire depth check, it seems fine. Even in the Model X, it seems fine, and that's an even heavier vehicle. And I've been beating on that one more with like the heavy acceleration. With the winter tires, especially that I just put on, they are like bulletproof. They just don't seem to wear. But I would say a good
How
bit
much
of
were
that
those
is because,
tires?
huh?
How much were those tires?
Oh, those tires were $1,200. They were
Exactly.
really good, off-road, what do you call it? All season tires. But also if you're driving a majority on snow, there's not really much like direct pavement contact that would wear them down. So we'll see. It says that I can get 50,000 miles out of them, which would be 10 years if I'm only driving them for half the year. That's kind of what justified the purchase for me.
So,
Well,
so
if
here's
you-
the question: what do you guys think they're going to make in Mexico? I'm thinking the semi. Like, it
Oh, I
makes
thought
a
it was
lot
the
of
Gen
sense.
4 car. I thought that was the whole point. That's what I was gathering. That it's a Gen 4.
I thought it was going to be the semi that they were going to produce.
I thought
There,
the
'cause they're
semi's
gonna-
in Nevada.
No, the semi is being produced in Nevada, where they have that factory, not the Mega Pack factory. Isn't that where they have like the mega chargers, where they're building the mega chargers?
It's
No.
the battery factory too, but I think they're expanding it to do semi. That was in Nevada.
So
Someone in the
La-
comments can correct us.
yeah,
I mean,
Lathrop
the
was California is where they're doing the battery packs, right? Lathrop is where they're doing battery packs. They're doing Giga Nevada is where they're doing majority of the Model S production and some of the Y there too. I don't know. I'm not nearly as versed as you guys are when it comes to Tesla, but I do know that they're going to have a lot of spare capacity to do other things. Like I'd be shocked if they weren't making semis down there, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't.
PG is
sound like that was
saying
the plan.
on the chat, PG is saying it's the Gen 3 factory primarily. I mean, look, Tesla, one thing that was interesting is that they
Gen 4?
no,
Which
Gen
one? The
3.
vehicle?
No, platform 3, which would be platform 3. So S and X were 1, Model Y and 3 are number 2, and this would be the next gen vehicle.
I think it's called Gen 4.
Okay, I mean, whatever you want to call it.
I'm
It's the
calling
next,
it.
it's,
I'm calling it
what's,
Gen 4.
what's Gen
Uh,
1? What's Gen 1? The Roadster doesn't count. The original Roadster doesn't count.
I'm not sure, but here, let me share this. This I shared before. But do you guys see this?
Yeah.
So this is Pierre Figaro. I keep messing up his name.
I love that guy.
The analyst.
I love that
But-
guy when he talks.
But when we're talking about powertrain and batteries, and to your point, how all the costs are coming down, they're going to manufacture a powertrain, which includes the battery, I would assume, because that's the powertrain, right? The motor.
No,
would-
no.
No?
No.
That's just the
No,
battery part. I'm sorry, that's just the motor parts. The motor's supposed to be $1,000, he said.
Well,
Yeah.
the powertrain. So like in an ICE vehicle, the powertrain would include like engine, transmission, differential, like the entire thing that that generates the power and brings.
I think they
power
include
together.
batteries here. This is 6K.
Okay, then if it's 6K, it might be including the battery.
If other materials does not include batteries. I don't believe that includes batteries. I think this means powertrain includes the battery. That includes the whole motor battery. That's $6,000. And someone please correct us if we're wrong, but they're still going to make, at the end of the day, they're assuming around $5,000, 20% gross margin here, while Toyota Corolla can't even clear, looks like $1,000, 5% margin
For
the Toyota Corolla.
Mm.
So if that's the case, that's still kind of amazing. If they do make a $27,000 vehicle, which Pierre is saying, and they're getting 20% gross margin just on this is not counting full self-driving and everything else. This is just counting the actual vehicle, right? In addition, it says the TCO of the model, the total cost of ownership of the Model 2 will be lower than a compact equivalent. And also this to Tesla means to be able to price this base model of the Model 2, excluding FSD. So, and excluding charging and all of that, that's happening that we know. So the gross margins can only go up, I feel. If this is correct and they're making 20%, and if FSD has any traction, then we have over 20% margins.
I mean, we know that right now they have 400,000. We know right now that they have 400,000 FSD paid FSD subscribers, and they just had their 4 millionth vehicle. So just as a percentage of it, it's a pretty clean percentage. What is that? That's 1%, 4,400,000, right? Am I incorrect? No,
Again?
If they have 4 million vehicles on the road, they just produced their 4 millionth vehicle, and they have 400,000 paid active FSD subscribers. It's easy to do the proportion or the percentage of fleet versus how many of them adopt FSD. We could assume it's going to go up.
Right, it's some small percentage still adopting it, but it's still a big number considering it's $15,000 a pop.
Exactly. And so if they produce 1.8 million vehicles this year, we can do a calculation as to how much margins that they're going to make on just the FSD.
Hear that. So calculator here, open up. You're saying 400,000 of them? I didn't know.
He announced they have 400,000 cars on the road right now, paid FSD, right? So we can calculate what the.
So it's around it's around 30%. Is this you're saying 28% uptake in FSD?
400,000 out of 4 million vehicles.
Yeah, that's 28%.
That's huge. That's what I was saying. I thought it was.
That sounds a little high, but
large. I mean, look, we can look it up, and let's go back to the investor day. But he did say that.
So out of 1.8 this year, so let's say 28%, whatever. 504,000 vehicles you're claiming times 15K. That's a $7.5 billion business. That's
a lot of money. Right, but to your point, if you have a 20,
it's failing businesses making
printed tendies, but that's a tremendous amount of money. So if they go up to 1.8 million vehicles this year, and 28% of that, what's 28% of 1.8 million vehicles? Just using
500,000.
So that's another 500,000 vehicles. That'd be $7 or $8 billion of just FSD revenue, which is essentially 90% margins. That's insanity.
I mean, look, he's winning. He's
freaking just money.
So besides, we know, okay, we're going to get into the full report, but Chris, have you invested in Tesla yet? Have you bought stock?
Yeah, I have options. I told you guys. I bought like a bunch of call contracts. I thought I told you guys before.
On the chat, you did.
Trading in.
Are you holding any shares?
No, I don't have any shares, but I have 10 call contracts on Tesla.
At 150. What was it, 150?
Yeah. 150, yeah.
Strike. And what was the price of Tesla when you bought them? Was it like 100 or
it was like 110, 120.
Okay, so you got them pretty cheap.
Oh yeah, and it's to 2025.
There you go. You got the leaps. Very smart.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a no-brainer.
A Tesla investor. Okay, so what about Enphase for a second? And Johnny Boy, hold on. Johnny Boy is going to be happy about this, but you did text us that you're seeing the
Yeah.
possibility of
He's
Enphase being a massive company.
So I would say that I'm much more bullish on solar now than ever before. I think solar definitely has the ability to disrupt a lot of energy production all over the world. And Enphase being a key part of that could theoretically end up, doing really well for itself. I'm doing more research on some of the other technologies that are out there because I'm bullish on solar, but I'm not necessarily bullish 100% on micro inverters. But then again, like I said, it's a much more newer thing for me to try to figure out and understand. So yeah, I'm still on the fence, but I no longer think that this is going to collapse in on itself. Like there's nothing that would lead me to believe Enphase is I think right now, based on what I'm seeing, Enphase definitely has the potential to do very well, but the time to get in was 2 years ago when you guys got in, right? That's when you would have saw the
Yeah, but
exponential
that's a really
returns.
that's a really
Yeah.
dangerous claim, because what you're saying
Yeah.
is that 90% of the gains have already had
No, I just think that
have been had.
I think that it's just going to be a much more slower paced growth. It's not going to be a 10xer. I just don't see Enphase being possibly a 200, $300 billion
Why
company.
not? For example, let's say solar, just do the math. Solar is 3% penetration in the world, right?
Mhm.
We have to convert all that energy besides the growth right now. Why can't it be a 10xer if we're only at 3%? If
Well,
we were at
that's
90%
why-
penetration, you're right. But we're
That's why I
not.
wanted to bring this up. I wanted to bring this up. Can you guys see this? This was at the investor day. This was their goals. This is what Tesla says the world needs in order to achieve
Wow.
Master Plan 3. So when I was watching this, I also was thinking, what is Enphase's take from this, right? If Tesla's saying they want to do, what did it say, 10 terawatt hours, that still leaves a lot on the storage side. So it's about what is Enphase's roadmap, like what is their master plan, where do they see themselves in 10 years, and how do they see themselves contributing to these goals? If Tesla is saying arbitrarily, company agnostic, this is what's required for the human civilization to be energy independent.
And
So-
the thing that it's not counting, I just want to point out, this is replacing the energy we currently use. As we know, as we move forward, we will use more energy for other things. So I don't think this stops here. We will always use more energy if it is allowed to be used.
If it's available,
You know
for
what I'm
sure.
saying? Like, for example, like I just started heating my house with in this particular house with an inverter system, a heat pump. I couldn't do that a couple of years ago. It wasn't available to me the same way. So there's all this new technology is coming out that we can take advantage of as we move forward. So I think this is only talking about today if we replaced it,
Right, but it's still a good place to start. So out of this, we're saying in 10 years, what do you think Enphase's dent and is in these goals? How much of this do you think that they would capture? How much of that renewable power is going to be Enphase inverters on solar panels? How much of that storage is going to be Enphase? If Tesla is going for 10 terawatt hours, this is what tells you what Enphase's potential could be.
And this is the research that I'm trying to do to figure out, okay, what level of involvement is Enphase going to have in getting to the point where Elon is demonstrating this right here, what we're looking at? Are there other competitors that are going to come out with micro inverters that have a similar functionality to what Enphase is doing in another package, right? Right now, they are the only guys in town, as far as I can tell, that have what's the word, like a majority of the market share. I don't see the other incumbent. There are other companies that make microinverters, but they're nowhere near as sophisticated as Enphase is. So I would say, and that's the other thing too, that I keep asking myself, why isn't Tesla doing microinverters? Like, I think that would be a natural fit. Why not? Like,
it's an extra part.
Well, yeah, because Elon is simplify, and so it's cheaper. He's right. The string inverters are cheaper. So if that gives you a cost-effective way to switch to solar, he's betting more people will pick that. And what's weird is that he didn't do that with the EV. He made the best freaking car you can buy, the sexiest thing, and more expensive right now than a gas car. And we are switching slowly, but I'm saying with the inverter thing, he's picking string inverters, it is weird to me. I don't understand it myself. I
I
don't
think
get
it
why you're
make,
doing
no,
this.
but I think in terms of their mission, it makes complete sense. This is the article when they announced that they were doing string inverters. Tesla's mission is to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy, to speed up the adoption of solar and storage in residential sector. We focused on providing products specifically designed for both the system owner and the installer. So it points to me that Elon is thinking about ease of installation and
The solar
ease
roof
for the
is not
customer.
easy to install, by the way.
Not solar
But
roof.
see,
I'm just saying solar
but-
panels on the roof. And it says in the paper, Tesla admits that its solutions result in a lower production of about 1 or 2%. I think Elon's saying that loss of 1 or 2% is not enough to justify the addition of all
That is
these
not why you put
inverters.
inverters, and you know that very well. So
do you
this is like Elon moving the goal to something else. It's not the 1 or 2% loss. It is the fact that you are no longer decentralized in the grid on top of your roof. That's the problem. That now when you have an issue in your solar roof, you have to go hunt it down. And we've talked to installers, like when you have a problem on your solar roof, go find that problem because it's a string inverter. So you're gonna have to take apart the whole goddamn roof. That's the problem.
You're
So
talking about solar roof first. I'm just saying, okay, solar roof is
but whatever, even string inverters. The problem with string
Right.
inverters is that you don't have a decentralized, and you know this. You have microinverters on your roof. There's a reason for it, because if there's a problem, one microinverter is the problem, not the whole damn thing going down.
No, but even when I had my solar edge system, because I did have a solar edge system, if one panel went down or if an inverter went down, they would be able to find it. Not an inverter, I'm saying an optimizer. They'd be able
They
to
don't
find
have optimizers. That's not what
Same.
Tesla's doing.
No, Tesla's not, but I'm saying on the solar edge system that
I
I
wasn't
had,
discussing
when,
that. I
when
wasn't
something
discussing that.
when something went down, yes, the entire system went down, and I was at a loss of production, but they were still able to find that,
Yes,
identify which one that was reporting an error.
unless your main inverter goes down.
Yeah,
which
unless
it
the main
did.
inverter goes down, yeah, then you can go and fix it. Yeah.
But Elon's not doing that. Okay, he's not even doing that. The power optimizers. He's doing string inverters, and he's doing 4 quadrants. In fact, one of our installers described what he's doing. He's connecting 4 string inverters basically together to a main
Yeah.
inverter. So
Yeah.
when that goes down, when one of those panels goes down, you are screwed as the homeowner. So unless he's just trying to keep up 99.99999% efficiency and meaning it never goes down, that could be possible with Tesla. Who knows? He's creating a problem in the future for the homeowner. That's what I think is happening.
I think when the problems happen, yes, there's a potential for a worse disruption to the homeowner if you're on a Tesla system than an Enphase system. But he's looking at how can I get as many of these systems installed as quickly as possible. Less parts means I can install more systems in more people's homes for the same amount. Yeah,
I
cheaper
honestly
for the same
thought
CapEx.
I thought microinverters would be a much simpler installation. I mean, I watched some of the installation videos. It was as simple as the guy putting up the panels, hooking up the microinverter, and then daisy chaining the thing, and then there you go. It goes down into your system. It was something that, believe it or not, a normal person could theoretically do because it wasn't very complicated.
Yeah.
Right.
And there is a benefit.
They also have them installed. Wait, but they also have them integrated now. I think it was Panasonic worked a deal with Enphase to integrate them into the panels. So now you can buy a panel that already has an Enphase inverter installed.
Yeah.
So it makes it even easier. Plug
There
and
is a
play.
benefit. The other benefit is that you're just taking regular conventional household, basically lines, 120 volt lines straight down to your main panel, right? Your combiner box, right? Basically into your panel.
AC, yeah, AC.
You're taking straight AC down, so it's much easier to deal with than actually high voltage. And we talked to another installer, the guy in Australia. He said roofs catch fire with these DC, this high voltage DC that goes to the main inverter. They actually catch on fire. Okay, so I think you're right, Chris. It is actually easier, but maybe it took a minute to convince a lot of installers of this because you have to learn a new technology when they started doing this, right? So, and Enphase was one of the first ones to do it. But I think it's catching on like wildfire. This is why Enphase is growing faster than SolarEdge. If you did some homework on this, that's why their stock has done better, for example. But they're growing at a faster pace because it is the better technology, and it's the better technology for you as the homeowner. But the question is, once again, does the homeowner play any
No, the homeowner does
part in this?
This is what we started talking about on the WhatsApp. The homeowner, the benefit of the homeowner educating themselves, I think, favors Tesla, and because Tesla has multiple ways to get you into the mode. If you already have a Tesla EV that you bought independent of solar, you're most likely going to at least consider them to be your solar provider. So they have a bunch of ways they can get you into the mode. Whereas I don't think many residential customers are finding Enphase on their own and demanding that they have Enphase installed on their roofs. That's going to be whatever the installer network decides is the best version, the best system to install for performance and for lack of maintenance, right?
What about from a cost perspective over the lifetime of the
Enphase's
roof, right?
systems
Enphase
are
is
more
cheaper.
Enphase's systems are more expensive
No, they're cheaper over the long term. Okay.
over the long term. But I know,
Up
but
front,
that's
cheaper over the
not.
long term.
I know, but that's the same argument that people were making for EVs. But you're looking at the sticker price, and it's 6,000 more for the hybrid or the EV version of a vehicle. Customers don't think about the long term.
They do if you explain it to them. The thing is, I don't know what the conversation is with the installer at home. I have no idea. But when you actually discuss with the installers and they explain to you why one thing is better than another, if they're being honest, they clearly tell you Enphase is better because of these reasons. That
But you're going to have to pay more. I know, but you're going to have to pay. But for the system,
yeah, but if I'm installing an energy
monthly
thing for my house and someone explains it to me,
Yeah.
I'm willing to pay more for things for my house. I live there. I'm
Right.
willing to pay more for things there.
not every
Question is-
customer. Not every customer will, and that's what Tesla's
I agree.
back at.
I agree.
Not
Not every customer will.
Some people
I-
will say, "What's the bottom line?" and say, "Okay, I'll go with the Tesla system. I'll risk being down and losing production. I'll risk these things. I'll risk 1 or 2% less production, but just to have a lower monthly cost, especially now in high interest rates, that matters to people taking out the loans for the gear."
So my theory would be that it has something to do with the power wall, right? Where Tesla would have to sell you the power wall because the inverters are built into the power wall. So it's almost like, oh, if you buy the solar panels from Tesla, you know, the thing.
it's not
you're
built
also
into
gonna
the,
buy-
it's not built into the Powerwall, by the way. The Powerwall
No?
is a separate product. They have an inverter coming from all the string inverters on the roof, and that goes to a main inverter. I don't know if Tesla, they probably produce their own inverter too, but the Powerwall is a separate battery thing. I don't know if
the power wall's a separate.
I don't know if they're combining it at some point. Maybe.
Well, now you can't get a Tesla system without Tesla
Powerwall.
without a Powerwall. Yeah, you can't get one. So now you have to have the battery backup. And that brings me to the next thing. I'm just going to throw up a slide.
Oh, wait, but before you leave that's one of the good selling points for Enphase and SolarEdge, because Tesla's saying you have to buy our battery, you have to buy our thing, everything is ours. And honestly, if you don't want to do that, then you're sort of like, well, I got to go somewhere else. And
Yeah, but that's
SolarEdge are your two others.
But the same, I could argue the same thing you're saying about the same thing that you're saying would make a customer choose Enphase when you explain to them the overall like lowered cost of ownership. Same thing when you explain to a customer the benefits of having the battery versus not having the battery. A good number of those will opt for it, especially if Tesla's solar installation price is cheaper. You have more bandwidth there in a customer's.
I don't think they will, because I know the benefits of a battery, and I still haven't gotten a battery. And there's only one reason for it.
Yeah, but we were also 2019. It was way different.
It's still expensive. It's still too expensive to put a battery in your house. Otherwise, I would have 3 of them right now. Like, no doubt.
It is. But if they explain it to you,
Vitaly, here's the thing: what if the batteries got cheaper?
Oh, I would buy 100%. 100%.
So maybe that's the reason right there, which is, hey, listen, in the future, by adding these other battery systems, you'll be able to charge your house during the day, right? And charge it off peak at night. And when you're charging, you're literally be doing things 100% off the grid. So it's almost like a value added buy.
But
right?
they also
Whereas
have do you see the auto bidder thing? Like they have software when you have when you have a Tesla Powerwall, they have auto bidders. So it knows what the cost of, for areas like me, like I think you guys in Jersey, it's a fixed price for kilowatt hour. California, it's not, it's time of day. So if I'm not home, for example, the auto bidder software inside of in the Tesla ecosystem will know when power is cheap, and it will charge your batteries when the power is cheap, and then sell it back to the company when the power is more expensive. And it will literally just generate cash for you every month by buying low and selling high. And it will just continue to repeat this, not affecting your needs. But that's pretty cool. You just know that the software is going to maximize your installation and make you money.
I think the greatest innovation that we're going to see in the next probably 5 to 10 years is batteries. The reason why solar was adopted so much now is, exactly. But the reason why solar was adopted so much is because the price of solar came down so much to the point where it's more affordable. I think batteries are going to be the same thing. And who's the leader in battery production right now in terms of cell chemistry, in terms of efficiency? It's Tesla. Yeah. So if you guys think about it, you know, whether you want to be bullish on Enphase or Tesla, I think at the end of the day, Tesla's looking at this way ahead of time. And I am starting to see the benefit in terms of being in that Tesla ecosystem, where literally I don't have to pay for electricity anymore. I don't have to pay for gasoline anymore. All that money gets saved into my pockets. The question that I have now is this all going to be super deflationary? Because if you think about how much of,
100%.
imagine how much
Wait,
of
wait.
our,
What do you, in what sense? What do you mean super deflationary?
well, if you looked at what Elon was explaining, and not just Elon, but everyone, they were talking about cost efficiencies on so many things.
Mhm.
Imagine the cost right now, everything that you have around you had to be produced, transported to where you are right now, right?
There's
If
a whole
you-
workforce that goes away
Yeah.
at some point
If
in
you-
the future.
not to mention the electrical cost of generating that power to make your widget, whatever, all those things are coming down. If the price of energy comes down, if the price of energy storage comes down to what we're looking at right now, we're looking at
21 cents a mile. Yeah. Yeah.
a lot of deflation. We're looking at a lot of deflation. One of the reasons why there's always, if you look at inflation, one of the main drivers of inflation is the cost of gasoline and all the other products that go into it. So now imagine that happens in reverse, where every year the efficiency of things is getting better and better. Where right now, I think right now we are paying what, 15 cents, I think, on average per kilowatt hour. What if that goes down to 1, 2, 3 cents a kilowatt
There'll just
hour?
be that many more Bitcoin miners.
So,
Like,
well,
like the point is, to something Vitaly said earlier, if there's more energy available, people will find something to use it on.
we'll use
right?
it.
So if you things stay exactly the same, yes, there'll be industries that are disrupted. But if you suddenly have more energy available, there will be something to fill that void. Something else will take its
Well,
place.
imagine the processes that are like difficult in nature right now. You need an oil plant or you need a coal-fired plant. There's certain processes. Even Elon talked about switching to hydrogen. I don't know if you heard that part, but
Yeah.
imagine at some point, like you're saying, batteries and solar are efficient enough where you can even switch that. And chemical processes and all these things that we're doing, smelting and iron. I don't know when that
acid
future
burn,
happens.
acid washes, all that stuff.
I don't know when that future happens. I have no idea when that actually happens. That could be 20, 30, 40 years old. I have no, when the last bit of oil is used, right? But my point is that the expansion of that, imagine you could make this for free, basically. You're getting sun energy for free, and the processes that could be created that you can use manufacturing-wise, you're right, it's deflationary. Like the whole thing is deflationary. So I could see a whole industry just being totally destroyed. That's why I do hope this takes a certain amount of time. I don't want this to happen tomorrow, because I think if it happens tomorrow,
All right, so
I think the world is sort of collapsing.
wait. But does that bring us to the era of this? Does it bring us to the era of electricity as a service, where they produce the power and for one price, just like your data minutes?
This is amazing. This is amazing that they're doing this kind of thing. It's mind blowing.
It's mind blowing. This is what I'm saying. Does it usher in the era of energy as a service, where they say, look, we'll generate the power. We're getting all this wind power at night in Texas. We're going to take that and directly charge your vehicle for $30 a month.
Or your
You have
battery.
all the energy. Yeah, or your home batteries. This basically takes us to the same business model as cellular phones and data. Now you don't even
Dude, every
about-
single Uber driver in Texas right now. is
every
selling.
Uber driver or every driver in Texas is like, oh, I'm just going to get a Tesla and I'm going to be driving Uber. $30 a month, that caps your charging, right? Or
I think
twice
that's
a day.
$30 for the service, by the way. To be clear, I heard
Oh,
it
No. It's $30 for unlimited
$30 a
charging.
month, homie.
from a certain window. Is it a certain
No,
time?
no.
at night,
Well,
dude.
yeah,
At
yeah,
night,
yeah.
yeah. So
No, I'm
basically,
saying
at
a certain a certain time window that you're charging. But yeah, every Uber driver is definitely going to use this.
why wouldn't you? Why would you
It's
pay
kinda
anything
crazy
more?
So Elon is showing his muscle here. Like anyone who thinks he's not a monopolist is crazy, because he's literally going to destroy.
He's flexing.
Oh no, but this is why I invest in. Look, my biggest two positions are Tesla and Enphase. So either one who 10x's or 5x's, whatever, I'm going to be fine. If Enphase goes bankrupt and Tesla 5x's, I'll be fine.
Right, no one's
If
going to cry.
Enphase 10x's and Tesla goes bankrupt, I'll be fine. So my point is, you got to get both. Okay.
But Tesla's now raising the bar. This is what I'm saying. Enphase now has to get into this business. Enphase now,
They are getting into that business,
but they have to offer this. They have to offer this. Now, if think of energy as a service, this is ridiculous.
And we
So
call
now
it EAS.
Yeah, EAS. EAS.
Guys, we
Energy
already
as
have.
a service.
All right, hold on. Y'all know that we have energy as a service. It's called electrical bill.
It is called.
Right?
Yeah,
electrical
but
card.
it's different. It's different like this. The idea of unlimited energy. I mean, Someone's going to
No,
figure out a way to
it's
hook up a
SaaS
Tesla charger.
It's a SaaS business. That's the
Yeah,
difference.
exactly.
Okay.
Someone's
It's
going
like
to find a way of hooking up
$35.
that Tesla charger to a Bitcoin miner and just have it sitting there all night generating Bitcoin.
Oh, someone did that on YouTube. Someone's doing that, by the way. There's a guy. There's
Really?
a guy who builds all these battery systems and everything. He gets free energy from. There's a lot of charge point and everything. Free stations. He charges his car. He goes home and plugs it into his Bitcoin miner.
So smart.
Oh my
And it's
god!
kind of he's really squeezing the towel there, but it's got to be a net positive. He's got to be making money.
Well, yeah, I'm sure he's doing it just for a fun experiment. But yeah, free money.
Yeah, I think prices of energy are going to come down significantly, dude. I mean, the one thing that I think is going to be very, very positive for all of us,
Wait, hold on.
especially
PG has a point actually. Deflationary, my foot. I think he means his ass. All the all the food and services will be jacked up, which is true. He's got a point.
Well, why would they be jacked up?
Because they can. They see what they did after COVID, supply chain issues. All of a sudden, everything's like
No. I mean, look,
expensive.
I believe in the market theory that guess what? If you can produce things at a cheaper price and put them out there, then yes, prices will come down. So think about right now the cost of production. If the cost of production drops, that means the more people are going to try to produce things. And if more people try to produce things, the price of things naturally are going to come down. So right now, what is the one thing that everyone has to always put in? Energy. Right now, whether you have a tractor, whether you have like, even a chicken farm, you need to have electricity in the chicken farm to do all the stuff that happens. If you can lower the marginal cost of electricity down, that means that the cost of production goes down. Sure, your margins will get better, but guess what? Your competitors' margins will get better too, which means that they'll lower their prices to compete. And eventually, that's the
customer wins. Yes, that's how the customer.
Yeah.
There's an initial race for profits, and then the demand.
Well, I think that's the genius of Elon Musk, looking in hindsight, is that he figured out how to make environmentalism sexy. And I think that's the stupidity of every environmentalist that came before him, in that they were like, we need to save the world. And Elon was, we need to make money while saving the world. And I think that's the key.
Good doing it.
We need to show that saving the world can make a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's not enough. Yeah, it's not enough to ask people to do it just to do it.
I don't know how you guys felt, but I thought every single person he brought up to do the president, all of them were fucking killers, dude.
Yeah,
every single
charging woman, that woman,
yeah.
That chick, that presentation on supercharging and how they want to be the air traffic controller, like the idea that they know where the cars are, they know the charging habits of the cars, they know that they have the data on the infrastructure side, right? So they know how to route cars to minimize and to lower wait times and maximize the load. Just that idea. And now that they're opening it up to other non-Teslas. When she said that we want to be the air traffic controllers of vehicle charging, I'm just like,
dude, I just
have enough shares, man.
I just want to
point out this is all the long term, because when we're talking very bullish about these things.
Yeah, but it happens now. It's happening.
No, it's happening it's happening all around us. That's true. And I'm saying, but my whole thing is that all those fanboys want it to happen tomorrow, and this is such a long-term plan for this to happen that people have to take a step back and say, "Oh, do I just go all into Tesla?" A lot of people are thinking this way, and it's you have time, buddy. We are not in that environment where you have to go all into anything. So
I think Elon Musk has figured out the right people for the right job, and he's put some really key people in the places that he needed to. And this company's going places. I'm telling you, every single one.
That was partially to answer to people saying he's distracted. Like, who's running Tesla while you're gone? You saw 30 people up there, big brain, 400 IQ people up there, all of them there 5, 10, 14, 15 years. Like, if Elon disappeared tomorrow, it would hurt the stock, but not the company.
But the best stat, by the way, which we're talking about, is energy is growing 65% compounded yearly right now, as Wall Street has not even priced in this business. So that's the bull case for me. What we're discussing is that this energy business is being totally ignored. And the supercharger network, Wall Street doesn't even talk about the supercharger network. It's kind of crazy.
Uncle Sam's going to be subsidizing it. There you go.
And all the
Crazy,
other
man.
cars and all the other cars have to start using it basically, right? Because it's
Yeah.
the only reliable network.
It's the only one, right? And so now, after not being able to say anything, and the fact that Mary Barra led, they needed to basically say, if you want a couple $1 billion, you have to open this thing up and save our ass on
I'm glad you had that
our
slide,
promises.
that slide ready right out the back.
But like, look where we're at now. I mean, this is where we're at now. Look at the trajectory,
Yeah.
and then look at the upcoming products. Can you guys see this? Can you guys see their
Yeah.
upcoming products in 2023?
What I thought was funniest was that
What do you
they
think
were
that's
like,
supposed to be? What is that? What is that box?
This is what I want to get into. I want to get into this. Like, let's talk about this. Upcoming products in 2023. What are these products?
well, one of them is definitely some kind of power wall that's
it's a
going to be super
supercharger
cheap
4,
and super.
right? The
No.
megawatt.
No. This is energy. This is Powerwall, a Powerwall
the
mega
megawatt
packs.
charger. The megawatt charger is 2023. One of those is that.
Yeah, but
No.
I don't see the
No,
mega
no.
charges as part of this. This is about
No.
battery storage. This is all
Yeah.
battery storage. So this is either HVAC, integrated battery storage, maybe HVAC, maybe.
It could be the heat pump, believe it or not. No, actually, no, it won't be the heat pump.
The
I
pump?
think eventually they're going to come up with a heat pump too on top of it.
We
Because
did, but
that was one of the
there's
discussions,
two
yeah.
products. There's two products right there.
I think one of them is going to be a highly efficient but very affordable power wall. I think that's what one of them is. And the other one is something that's more on the industrial scale of like industrial battery. That's going to be deployable to even the small businesses, right? Like I think of a lot of small businesses, if they could afford a battery, they would go with it because this way they can benefit from the off-peak and peak charging times, right? So basically they would store energy during off-peak and then utilize it during peak. And the other thing is I was flying in today from Atlanta. I mean, I was flying from New York to Atlanta, and if you guys ever like go down to like South Atlanta, you're going to see like warehouses on top of warehouses everywhere. And then like all the factories and all the industrial buildings. And my question is, how the hell are they not putting solar panels on those things?
I don't get it either. How is Texas not just plastered with solar right now?
All the
Yeah.
roofs, all the roofs.
So as a side note, I was in Texas buying a house during the pandemic, and I was buying in a community, and I would go to every community that I was looking into, and I would say, well, I want to put solar on my house. Like we were literally in the middle of contracts with one of the houses. I want to put solar in this house. And the hell they made me go through to try to figure out if I can get solar. They can't stop you because it's against the law, actually. They have a law that says you can't stop people from installing solar, but they could make your life miserable getting it. So these communities don't want solar right now. So there's a curve here that's happening that they have to adopt it in. Do you see what I'm saying? And
That's
they
political,
literally were.
but you know that's political. That's political because they're
Well, no. These are communities that are what are HOAs. These are HOAs, and I went to a bunch of them. And my point is, I had to drop that deal because they were going to make my life hard because I care deeply about putting solar on my roof, and they were going to make it hard for me to do that. So I had to like leave the deal basically, and didn't move to Texas because of this very thing. It's kind of crazy that I actually dropped the whole house because of solar.
Yeah,
it's true because I want to control my own energy, and so I didn't want to be stuck in the house for 20 years not being able to control my own energy. So my point is, Texas is not on the forefront of this, even though they should be.
Yeah,
Georgia.
But that's why I think they rolled out the $30 a month unlimited in Texas first, and also
he's going to change it. He's going to change it.
Exactly.
Dude,
He's going to come in there and make it okay.
I just find it crazy that a lot of these buildings, they just don't put solar panels on, like, especially if you have like a very wide building, like literally going like, you know, what I'm talking about.
The width is what gives you the kilowatt hours.
Yeah.
Like in New York City, that's not as effective. You'd have to wrap the actual exterior of the building. But in a place like Texas, where there's a lot of space, like actually, if you think about it, the middle of the country, middle America, like where it's just nothing but open fields, can absolutely dominate.
Dude, imagine right
energy
now
production.
Imagine taking off the utility costs of something like your building, man. That would be nuts. Imagine right now you prop up solar panels, you attach a battery to it. Dude, and you have no charge electricity, and you
even parking lots. A lot of parking lots out here, especially in the big malls, they all have solar panels. They don't have as many of the free EV chargers as I would like. I'm hoping that they ramp that up because now they're basically all full. Like in 2019, you could get it every time, but they all use solar panels to generate power as well as create shade for the vehicles that are parked outside, because otherwise they'd overheat. So on that benefit too, in a place that's really sunny, Arizona, Vegas, Texas, it would just create some shade for people.
Yeah. Georgia right now, I don't know if you guys know this, but it's actually one of the areas where they're building a lot of solar panel factories. Like Dalton, Georgia, I think they
You're
just
saying just the
installed.
factories that make panels?
Yeah, because there are certain parts of Georgia that used to make, I think they still do a lot of carpets and hardwoods and all this other stuff. But Georgia's very business friendly. And so they really wanted to get into the solar game. And so they did a lot of subsidies for solar panel manufacturing in the US. Because one of the challenges that the US is facing right now is that the Chinese are kind of like saber rattling a little bit. We cut them off from semiconductors. So now they're cutting us off from polysilicon crystalline. So it's like a tit for tat, but the US is like, bro, we could just make our own
sand.
Yeah. It's like we can make our own solar panels. We don't need you. You know, if you want to get
This is what doesn't make sense to me. It's like, we complained that like in the 90s a lot of these companies would outsource their production and manufacturing to other countries, right? But when you factor in the cost of bringing those goods and services back and the potential for tariffs, all of these places, these disaffected places like Detroit that lost a lot of manufacturing, it just makes sense to build things there. It's not even about like, even with the increased labor costs, the reduction in travel, right? And potential tariffs, especially if there's solar panels that need to be deployed like locally or in that area, it just to me makes sense to use those.
Well, one of the really cool things, I was in Cancun for my brother-in-law's wedding, and I actually met like one of my brother-in-law's like wife's side of the family, and he actually does some contracting for the for the DoD. And one of the things that they're doing a lot is doing something called nearshoring. So essentially, it's not just DoD stuff, but like pretty much all these industries, they're moving their supply chain out of China and actually building it in Mexico and in South America. And the reason for that is, one, if you look at the labor costs in China, they've actually caught up to the point where it's actually cheaper to manufacture in Mexico in terms of just labor, not even logistics,
and they're more
just
skilled.
labor.
And they're more skilled, apparently.
They're more skilled and they're developing like crazy. So you can actually sell into their into that economy, right? Whereas the Chinese are very restrictive on what you can sell. Like, so there's a lot of products that even though the Chinese manufacture for us, you're not allowed to sell it to the Chinese. It's such a weird thing. So, or you need to have some kind of like joint venture 50-50 where they steal your technology and end up becoming your competitors 10 years later. Like, so a lot of people are doing nearshoring right now. And I think that's just from a geopolitical standpoint, from a defense standpoint, it makes so much sense. Like, I don't know why we invested so much of our supply chains in fucking China when we have a gold mine of Mexico. Like, why wouldn't we?
It was cheaper. It was cheap. The overall cost was cheaper. The labor cost was
20 years ago. It was
and it made sense, right? To even just to lug it on a barge and ship it over here. That's not the case anymore. And especially now that a lot of these products need to be used locally. Like, that's why it makes sense for Tesla to have that factory in Mexico. It can feed Central America, which right now is
transitioning,
really sort of wide opening. Yeah, it's transitioning, and they're actually making a lot of groundwork in renewable energy.
Every island nation right now should be like a Tesla, like
hub,
basically hub, because you think about it, Hawaii, like, dude, they have to import oil and gasoline into fucking like
when the sun is shining, literally the whole. I know it doesn't make any sense, and I think this is part of that. This is part of that transition. This is part of how you
a lot of corruption. Let's not forget. I was on a vacation this past year in Bahamas, driving with the I guess it was Uber guys, whatever they are over there. I forgot what it was, taxi guys. And I was like, how come you guys have no solar? Because we're driving by all these houses, and he's like, well, because the oil industry owns the whole goddamn island.
Yeah.
He said, obviously that means they pay off the politicians, because I saw the puffing smoke from the coal, whatever they were using to make energy. No, I saw like the actual fumes and everything. I'm like, I don't get it. You have all the sun. Where is the solar over here? They don't have it. Right. They don't have it.
Yeah. I think that's going to change. I think the next 10 years, it makes no sense economically to import oil and natural gas and all that stuff.
That means they're killing their own economy, because those guys have paid them a lot of money to stay there.
Yeah, but I think eventually you can't beat economics.
Yeah, eventually. But kicking and screaming.
20 years from now.
Yeah, and you really need someone to break down that goddamn wall. Like, if it wasn't for Elon Musk breaking down the wall, I don't think we'd have electric cars. I just don't. Like, even if did you guys ever see the documentary? Did you guys ever see the documentary with Who Killed the Electric Car?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's shocking,
They're,
shocking.
they're
But
buried in Arizona somewhere.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and Rockefeller did that too. Electric cars weren't like oh yeah 2000, like we could have had electric cars around
For 50
JD
years. Yeah,
Rockefeller's
for
time,
sure.
but he was like, no, I own Standard Oil, we're gonna go the oil
We're gonna
economy.
we're gonna figure that out.
It was the first car ever made was an electric car, by the way,
Yeah.
not a
Yeah.
gas car.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but that's all history. You know,
I think literally our kids one day are gonna be, Daddy, did you fill your car up with gasoline? You know, they're not gonna say gasoline,
gonna know what
say
it is.
dinosaur juice,
Yeah.
and like ride around your car in there. Like, where's this? Doesn't like it's like did you guys ever see on YouTube where they have like kids playing with stuff?
Trying
that's
to
like,
they had millennials trying to make a
Yeah.
phone call with a rotary phone. It is
Yeah.
hysterical. They can't do it. You give them a
Dude.
number, they can't do it. They can't figure it out.
manual shift cars right now. You ask
Yeah. Oh,
anyone,
yeah,
the
everyone-
teenagers, it's like it's so funny. Like in Mexico when we were there, some people are still using, you know, manual cars.
Yeah.
So this kid was like, man, this is so interesting. The guy keeps like changing his shift. Why doesn't he just put it in drive and go? And I'm like, I was like,
Why doesn't it put it in D?
you don't realize? Yeah.
Yeah, the Tesla doesn't even have a D. You just double click.
Yeah.
All right. So a little bit unrelated because I do got to get going. This is something I wanted to just bring up just to show you guys. Can you see this? Can you see this Photoshop?
Yeah.
This is where the $1,000 for the motor.
Yeah, this is the $1,000. So this is what I wanted to talk to you guys about. Okay,
So
so
the
this is-
powertrain, by the way, is the whole battery. I think. We
All
gotta
right, so I just wanted to go over this with you because there's some like nothing that Tesla does is by accident. And so here, first thing I wanted to show was this. If you look at this, this is nothing they do is by accident. Okay. So if we look at what this is what they showed to switch to electric vehicles. If you look at the Model S, right? The Model S is below the Model X in terms of this category, 40 million vehicles. So the smaller sedan version followed by the larger, not as
SUV.
fast SUV
Luxury
version.
SUV.
Right. Then you
yeah.
have the Model 3, which is the sedan version, and then the larger CUV version. The semi is in a class by itself, right? Because it's a semi. Then you come over to this side and you see the Cybertruck is in the bottom position. So the Cybertruck would be the equivalent of the Model Y or the Model X in its respective category, which means this other vehicle is going to be the sedan version. This is why I'm
that's the
thinking
van. That looks like the
this
van.
is either a van or like an
Yeah.
SUV built on the Cybertruck frame.
Hmm.
Exoskeleton based Cybertruck. I'm sorry, exoskeleton based SUV, whereas the Model X was like the Model Y were the platform 1 and 2 base. Okay. I just found it super interesting.
Right, and the
You
last
can
one is
get-
obviously the Model 2.
The last one is like the Model 2, whatever they're calling, right? But I wanted to just go because again, none of this is by accident. They do cover the entire car, but you can you guys see a little bit of this? Can you see, like, you could see the little bit of the wheel, you can see a bit down here, and you can see the front end. I just wanted to draw some lines here. I know we usually draw them on charts, but I just wanted to draw some lines here. This is just something that it started making me think. Well,
I'm surprised someone can't just take like an AI engine and
say what's underneath that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
for
you can use
sure.
Stable Diffusion to make a car out of this.
You probably could. But what this shows me here, I mean, can you guys see that there's like clearly like a V shape here?
Mm-hmm.
A V shape here? Okay. And then over here, this looks like it's
Mr.
a bit
Vitale.
right. A bit like a rounded edge. And so you can see this is kind of what we've got going on here, right? You can see that this is a straight line, another straight line, right?
It looks like a hatchback. It could be a hatchback, right?
Exactly. Like just trying to parse out what's the shape of this vehicle underneath it. If you just look at the shadows, do you see this here? How this looks like a line, a clear line. If that was a curved side of a door, it would not, the canvas wouldn't fold like that. So this is telling me that this model, whatever this model is going to look more similar to the Cybertruck than it does any of the other ones. So that's telling me that this is going to be sort of like really compact based on the stainless steel thing. And then it got me thinking.
I think you're wrong. You know why? Because when they were putting the piece of the cart together, they were showing that they said there's a paint process.
Okay, they can have but they can figure out how to paint.
No, you don't
Figure out
paint
how to paint
stainless steel.
Yeah, you can't.
The thing is, they can figure
He
out.
did mention painting the pieces
Okay,
and putting them all together at
but
the
they
end.
didn't say that it would be made out of the same stainless steel alloy as the Cybertruck.
You just
it
can't
could
paint
be-
stainless steel, from what I know.
I'm not saying that it can be, but you can bend other materials the way that you bend the Cybertruck. You can bend other materials like
Maybe
this.
aluminum. I don't know.
So what it got me thinking was, and this is just a question that, to Tally, you do engineering and stuff. But so here's a question. I started thinking to myself, the best part is no part, right? So ideally, you design one side of a vehicle and you only need to make that one side. Then you flip the CAD drawing, and now you have both sides of the vehicle and you put it together, right? So the front of the vehicle and the back of the vehicle are essentially the same, and you just flip them, put the motor in, reverse the direction, and now you've got a vehicle. What if Tesla was only making one corner of a car, and the car was actually flipped and then flipped? So you flip one side of it to make half the vehicle, and then you flip it again to make the rear of the vehicle. Like, what if this model is so like efficient? This robo-taxi version of this is essentially the front half of a vehicle flipped onto itself, like almost like the Minority Report vehicle.
I know what you're saying, but then you still need the motors, unless it's a dual motor. Maybe then it's symmetrical somehow.
That's what I'm saying.
You're trying to say there's a symmetry there.
There's a symmetry in the front. There's a symmetry left to right and a symmetry front to back. So, for example, in the front, the seats would face the front the way you normally would, but in the back, the seats would be rear facing.
Oh, assuming it's just a robo-taxi? Is this
I'm saying a robo-taxi, and then you can open up. What are not the Falcon Wing doors? What do they call those? Suicide doors? No. What do they call those doors that open out?
Mm-hmm.
That would make it conducive to especially to simplify manufacturing, but it would also make the vehicle essentially bi-directional. It could drive forward and backwards equally the same.
I don't know about that. That seems kind of pie in the sky.
I'm just saying, taking the idea of efficiency of production, because it seems like the production of the vehicle is heavily informing the design. And when I saw that, I'll show you. I'm just going to show that again.
I know, but at least from what they've actually shown, the way the Model Y, blown apart, put together in the stage they're going to build this new vehicle.
Yeah.
It's going to be a conventional vehicle with painted parts, a conventional car. Just the cost of it will be reduced to the point where regular people can buy it.
But
I think even Elon understands people need to buy this car. This is not just a robo-taxi car. I think people have to buy this car.
No, I know. And they did say that they are going to have variants. He did specifically say, when we designed this car, the robo-taxi variant, right. So he's letting you know that there will be a passenger.
Like, that's definitely the front of a car, and the back is
definitely right. This is definitely the front, but it might not be. I was bringing up some references here. If you guys look at this, these are some of the cars that were in Minority Report. And there's basically no direction to them. I mean, these drove sideways, but if you look at these cars can drive in either direction. And look at the layouts of the seats. They face each other, or center out or outside in. I'm just looking at it again. This is
it's a cool idea. Dude, I just don't think
speculation.
Dude, that Lexus was awesome. When Minority Report, that looked like a freaking awesome car. That right there.
I wish they made these cars, by the way. They're amazing.
I mean, these cars look absolutely amazing. But the idea of a robo-taxi that's more of a pod, like you see this car very easily with minor changes to the front end, you can make it the back end. You can make a dedicated back end with a hatchback. But in reality, you could make the front of the Cybertruck a hatchback that opens all the way up with the glass and everything. You could do a hatchback on both sides if you really wanted to. I'm just saying, this is not me making a prediction.
No. I see this happening.
That engineering to the limit, and you say, we're not even going to make one half of a car. We're going to make 1/4 of a car, flip it, and then flip it, and that's a full car. Just throwing that out there, and wanted to get your.
Well, it's possible they're manufacturing something like that, where you could be right about that, and then it just takes multiple different parts, like maybe the motor goes into a certain compartment, but it's repeated in the back just in case.
Exactly the same.
It's easier to make that part. I could totally see that.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, it's going to look like a car, meaning you're going to have a steering wheel. That's going to happen for the Model 2. Your idea is the Model 1, and that's coming in 5 to 10 years.
I mean, it could be, but I was really intrigued. I was really intrigued at the idea of most cars they're only designing one half of it, and then you flip it over. What if you designed 1/4 of it? And remember how they showed that you have basically you split the front casting and rear casting, and you have 4 people working on the front casting and rear casting. Right. They could have the exact same components with slightly different body shape on top that makes it the rear end, or you could literally have a vehicle that looks like that Lexus that could drive forward and backwards, and there is no forward and reverse. It just depends on which side you get in.
So can I end it this way? Let's talk about what we're doing, because this is a stock channel, I guess, or a finance channel of some sort.
But that relates to lowering the cost, right? 50%.
Yes. So actually watching this event, by the way, made me long-term more bullish again.
Me too,
Every time I watch these events, I get long-term. I keep saying that because everybody thinks this is a short-term thing, that I can't wait to see this future that Elon Musk is making. And thank God this man is alive, that in 10 years, I'm still going to be hopefully alive and see this happen. That's what's cool about it. And I will be DCAing Tesla again. I
went hard the day after. I went hard the day after Investor Day.
No, I knew they would sell off, by the way. I knew that would happen. So as this stock, whatever, fluctuates between, like, let's say 150 or 250 bucks, somewhere there, I will just, for the next year or two, I will continue to DCA, because what he's doing over the long term is spectacular. Okay. No one is going to beat him. They're so far behind. It's crazy. At the same time, I'm also heavily saving my cash for Enphase, which I've started buying. And if you guys are on our Discord and everything, and you're on our Patreon, you'll see my actual buys in the Freelancer Finance section where I post my buys. And Carlos, I think you've seen I've been buying Enphase a little bit. Not I know.
Honestly, if Tesla's Investor Day was a month from now, I probably would have been picking up Enphase when it went under 200. But with Tesla under 200, I was just like, I gotta.
Well, one is 27 billion, the other is like 500 billion. Let's make that clear. So.
But that tells you that
I have an easier double.
Yeah.
I have an easier double in Enphase at this point. Just double. Forget about everything else. So Chris, what are you doing? I'm obviously buying both, and I'm really happy I'm buying both.
I'm actually looking at options. I actually bought options on Google and on Amazon. Just Google and Amazon for 2025. I think that we're definitely
when they hit the 90s. When they hit the 90s, is that when you're buying? Or you're talking about the month ago when we were both buying some Amazon options?
No, I've been buying more, actually. Amazon, let me see what I ended up buying.
You're talking about Leaps, right? You're talking about Leaps.
Yeah. I ended up buying Amazon Leaps. I ended up buying some Google Leaps, because both companies are in this transition of becoming more cost effective. My biggest reasoning for it was Salesforce, believe it or not. So you can see that once efficiency gains of laying people off, all that stuff translated into really good bottom lines. And you also saw these layoffs end up kind of like reinvigorating the companies a little bit. So when I saw that, I was like, dude, it's a no-brainer. Amazon right there is already like starting to high class their business. If you look at their earnings, their Amazon Essentials, which is their non-really making money segment, they're not exactly growing that much anymore, because they're not focusing on that as much. Their ads revenue skyrocketing. AWS still growing really fast. Their third party selling on their network still growing really fast, and they're cutting back on CapEx, which is their majority spend for the last 2 years. So they're stopping, like they stopped building HQ2. Why? Because they don't need the space. Same thing with a lot of other other things.
Google? So you told me Google, you were out of Google. You're not buying Google, but
I bought back in the 90s, because after doing more research on ChatGPT and large language models, I realized that there isn't necessarily enough of a use case for a lot of people to switch over from regular search. Google is still the behemoth in search, and there's really no alternative.
That's not why you left. You told me
I know.
Google.
Hold on.
Management was dog shit.
Management was dog shit, but they're really, really changing things around. Like, I could tell you, I spoke to a few people. They're making a lot of hard choices right now, but they are a lot more focused in the way that they're doing things. This Microsoft thing, I don't know what Satya was thinking going out there and saying, oh, I'm going to make Google dance. Google woke up. Like, this is fucking D-Day, bro.
Good.
Like, that's what happened.
I have a lot of Google.
So if you look, I mean, not D-Day, sorry, Pearl Harbor. So basically, America was just a sleeping giant. They were just chilling. And then all of a sudden there was like a fucking attack. Right. And now everyone at Google, literally priorities are being reset like crazy.
Basically, Satya made himself public enemy #1 at Google. That's what he did.
Oh, dude, one of the tragedies of how the world works is that if you don't have an effective competitor, you yourself become kind of like, you're calcified. You kind of like chill. But now every team at Google is on another level. And the area that they're just like, dude, everything that Microsoft does, we're going to hit them 10 times harder and go at them, because that's it. Like, we are not going to take this laying down. So I think Google is literally, they changed. And it's hard to believe that they, within a very short period of time, they could really reimagine themselves, but they're doing it, and they're doing it very fast. So in that regard, I think Google's a really good value proposition. Not to mention they have $10 billion cash pile right now that they can use.
And
to
they're like a
focus on things.
17 PE. Is that correct? Something
Forward 17 forward PE, 20 regular PE right now.
But I'm
like
saying
that.
something reasonable. It's not exactly an
Yeah.
overpriced stock. That's a reasonable.
Oh yeah. And on top of that, they already have authorized a $70 billion buyback. They're doing about 15 to $20 billion of buybacks per quarter, not per year, per quarter.
And what was
which
Meta
is
doing?
nuts.
50 billion, right? For this
Huh?
year. Meta's doing 50 billion this year?
50 billion
buybacks,
per year.
buybacks, 50 billion per year.
Buybacks. I mean, these
A
companies
lot
are
of retail
so rich.
taking profits this year, boy.
Yeah. They got
I don't know about
This
profits,
could be
but
the year of
like,
the buybacks. This could be the year of the
Well,
buybacks because Tesla will do buybacks too.
Tesla did not do buybacks.
They announced no, but they said that they would.
And
it was-
Elon has not
No.
gone through with that. I don't think he's doing that at all. Not
I
happening.
think it was
no.
approved.
Not happening. Yeah.
It's not worth it for them. They still need their capital to reinvest in all this
And I would
supercharging
agree.
network.
Yeah, but
Elon,
he
has-
said-
Elon
he
could use
said-
money. Elon could use money and make cool shit.
Yeah, but
Google-
he's already said that their R&D is maxed out, and since 2019 they have never ever. He said, "I've never taken money away from growth. So any money that they already are spending as much as
I know,
they
but
need-
he sort of
There's
nicked the
no-
whole
there's-
buyback thing for a while because we're in a messed up environment. He's not doing
Yeah.
that. He sort of made that clear.
You also want to be able to have that ability to lower prices on the product right now while you're in a recession and gain as much market share. Like
Yeah.
right now, think about it. They were slowing down in terms of sales. They hit the freaking brakes a little bit on the pricing and said, "Hey, we're going to discount a little bit." And boom,
That's
these things
funny.
were like just flying off the. Now, why were
I thought about getting another one just to have it.
Yeah. Now, why were they able to do that? It's because they have a significant cash position that they don't need to reach into.
Yeah.
So I think it's the same thing right now. I do think that Google in the very, very short term is going to be affected by slowdown in ad spending, but it's nowhere near the amount of money that they're saving by laying off fucking 12,000 people per head. I'm telling you now, per head,
the grand.
probably cost them no. It probably cost them $1 million per head. When
What?
you yeah, $1 million per head. Let me explain. Number one, you have all these people. You were paying them basic cash compensation, probably in the $100,000 to $200,000 range, okay, on average. And then on top of it, you were loading them up with another probably 100 to 200, and sometimes if they were in managerial roles, $400,000 in fucking SBC. That was crazy. And then you had all the software, all the licensing, all the stuff per employee that you have to pay on a seat by seat basis that they were having. And on top of that, now you had to have these fucking buildings that were like adult
food,
daycare
clothing,
centers.
daycare, whatever they
Fucking
have.
right,
fucking
the safe spaces.
masseuses, right? It was nuts.
Food.
And then most of them were still working at home. Like you had all these amenities and the motherfuckers are still working at home. So it was like, we don't need all this identity. Like, so all these amenities are all being cut all over the place. CapEx on real estate is being cut all over the place. So I think on a per employee basis, they'll probably save between 700,000 to $1 million, easy. If you think about, and then health benefits on top of it. Google had health benefits.
I
All the
wouldn't
perks
estimate
that
as much
they
as
have.
you, but you made a good point. I could see
Yeah.
$500,000 easy. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Yeah.
say it's $1 million. That's
No,
No,
That's a
some
lot
of
per
their
year, but-
some of their senior
a lot of
some of their-
lattes, but
dude, if you look at the total compensation for some of their L7, L8, engineers, they are up there in terms of compensation.
And
You know,
the one good thing about these, bad thing about these companies, and it's all of them. You sent me an article just 5 seconds about Google. You sent me an article about the culture at Google, that it's total shit. And maybe we'll post it in our Discord for people to read that article. But all of these companies have shitty culture. There's managerial upon managerial upon managerial. And the only company so far that's getting big, Elon Musk's companies, can keep this at bay, at least for now. We'll see how long this lasts. But so when you say Google has this, I think Microsoft has the same problem. I think Apple has the same problem.
No. Apple doesn't. Apple has
Have
always
a
been
massive managerial problem.
no. Apple
they
has been-
haven't laid anyone off. Yeah, they haven't laid anyone off.
Apple, if you look at on a per head count revenue growth, they didn't expand their head count nearly as much as Meta did, as much as Google did, and as much as Amazon did. The reason why right now you're not seeing layoffs from Apple is because they didn't overhire. They hired based on their needs and kept it at that. Like, that's the one thing about Tim Cook that everyone needs to give the guy credit for. He's an operator. He's not going to fall He's not going to fall into the trap of, oh, I need to hire people just to hire people and to like give this illusion of nonstop growth. It's not for Tim Cook. It's not
Apple.
fucking Trump, bro. Ever since he said Tim Apple,
I'm
He
saying
kind of looks like a Tim
it
Apple.
slipped. It slipped, but it makes sense. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so I think even Satya Nadella and Microsoft, they don't necessarily have the crazy perks and everything else. They do have some high headcounts, but Microsoft has never been known to be like this perk-centric organization, right? It's the Silicon Valley social media ad revenue type of people that have always had this. And the other thing is they've had, and this is something that Brad Gertzner explains very well on thing. Salesforce had a very similar problem where you hire all these people and then you have all these other people that are advocating for other people, and literally it just turns into this like to do a layoff. You had people revolting, and it made no sense. Like, you have internal employees fighting. It's like, oh, why are you guys doing layoffs? Like, because it's fucking necessary to run the business. We've become this crazy blob that we can't get anything done. And it's kind of sad, but Silicon Valley culture has kind of devolved into that, where basically they hire people and then they never fire them. Even if they're shitty, they don't do 100% of the work. They just keep them around. And then they have these singular events where everyone else is firing them. So it gives them cover to fire a whole bunch of fucking non-performative employees.
Well, because they're all competing for the same talent. So when they can fire people, they do it all at once. So Carlos, what's your last thing before we go?
I mean, I do got to get going. No, my last thing.
What are you buying?
Oh, what am I buying? I mean, I'm still, I mean, really, it's just Tesla and Enphase. I haven't seen anything. We don't really talk crypto here, but just Tesla and Enphase at this point.
Yeah.
And if
honestly, Tesla and Enphase are the best deal currently in the market.
Right, for where we are now, I'm just
for
like
what's going on, for what Chris is even getting bullish about finally after.
Yeah.
I told everybody that when Chris becomes bullish on Enphase, the finance junkies podcast.
I'm not saying I'm bullish.
This is the last episode, guys.
I'm not saying I'm super bullish on Enphase. I just see that they definitely have a path.
Well, before you were telling us it was going bankrupt, so I think you threw around a bit that they're not going anywhere.
I didn't say they're bankrupt, but they're overvalued. I think that they're pretty fairly valued right now, based on their growth rates, based on the industry that they're in, which is growing significantly. I think they're pretty good in terms of valuation.
I think it's a good value to DCA right now. Absolutely. Yeah. And I have been doing that. Okay, guys, we have to go, Carlos.
No, that's basically, I just think that Tesla, where we're buying Tesla now, or Tesla could be the first in these companies of a size we have not seen or heard of yet on the planet.
Biggest company in the world, 100%.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just a company of a scale and a size that we just can't imagine yet, because we're comparing it to like Apple or.
If you said 10 years ago that, hey, there's going to be a company out there that's going to be worth $2 trillion, everyone would have laughed in your face. Yeah. Now Apple's a $2 trillion company.
$3 trillion.
$3 trillion.
I don't know if it stayed there, but it got up to 3.
I honestly, I think that Tesla at some point is going to hit the $10 trillion market,
which makes Elon Musk the first, which makes him the world's first trillionaire. I mean, you can't even.
He owns 20%. If he keeps 20%, then yes, at 10 trillion, he's a trillionaire.
He's a trillionaire. It's hard to, I know, and it's hard to it's as hard to imagine now as a $1 trillion company was in in 2010. But that's why I say to myself, like, well, I'm alive right now and I have money to buy their stock. Like
I can't wait to watch, just last thing, GM Day, GM Investor Day.
I know they're gonna have to start doing this. This is the thing. They're gonna have to, like, Ford's gonna have to start doing these, like, technology.
Come out, guys. Today we're doing this. Okay, here's our new model, Equinox 3.
Right, our Ultium platform 7,
which they've changed, by the way, to model Elon Musk's battery. You heard that, right? They're stopping the
doing 4680. Yeah,
they're doing 4680. That's that's actually smart. They're supposed to copy the genius. You're supposed to copy.
Well, they're all gonna have to start, like, basically, it's like when Apple made the first smartphone, then they basically set the standard of, like, what the experience needs to be, the OS, the integration, and that's what Tesla's doing. They're just running through these legacy OEMs, guys.
Well, I mean, Elon's the one that said he's going to be bigger than Apple and fucking Saudi Aramco combined.
Combined, right?
And then he sold, but let's not forget that. Then he dumped on us. But I agree with him. After seeing this, like the things they're doing is nobody's going to match them. It's going to take another decade for somebody else to catch up.
I know, and we didn't even in this episode talk about the bot. We have to leave that.
No, that's a different.
We haven't even talked about the bot because that's going to be a fight with Vitaly and I. But tune in the next time, guys. You can watch me and Vitaly.
Hey, guys, if you aren't happy with the energy business being worth several trillion, well, come on. Like that's good enough for me.
Right. What are you waiting for?
I'm just glad we don't have to fight fucking for any more oil, bro. That's the key right there. We need to stop fighting.
Yeah.
We need to stop fucking fighting the world for their natural resources.
Look who comes just as the party's ending. Who's gotta come in now?
Yo, what?
Did you see how engaging our whole conversation was without this guy?
Right now, watch everything. All the two people are going to leave the live stream.
Let's talk about Palantir.
Conversation.
Yo, just now while we were talking, a guy named Palantir joined our Discord.
Yo. Hold on, Amit. If you did not see Investor Day, the last thing you say, have you not invested in Tesla heavily at this point after seeing that?
Bro, that was the most boring Investor Day.
Oh my God, we're gonna fight.
Fucking, I was so bored. I was trying to like.
You have to watch the supercut. That's why the 30-minute supercut.
No, it was good. It was exciting. It was really. I'm not super heavy in it yet, but it's very exciting. I mean,
it's time, man. It is time.
I think it might be time. Yeah.
It's time to like start that position where you're comfortable if it runs away, and if it dumps, to buy some more. That's the place you should be at. You know. Not financial advice.
Not risk. You want to mitigate your regret at this point.
So hold on. Is Chris an Enphase bull? Everything?
No.
He said Enphase is fair valued. That's pretty bullish, I would say.
At $200, you think it's fairly valued?
Well, he's not buying puts on it anymore, or not recommending it. I mean, that's a big step forward.
Yeah.
Him and Jeremy have stopped buying puts. Now they're both switching over. Oh, and since this is our podcast, we can talk a little bit about Farzad. And why does he call his wife producer wife?
I know. Oh my God, I'm not down with that. Yeah, not.
Why don't you guys
really
like
down with that? Yo, producer wife, come over here.
Is that like her pronoun? It's like a pronoun. Is it like a pronoun?
It's my podcast. I can do what I want. Anyway, that's it. We gotta go, dude. We gotta go. I gotta get back to work.
I just got here. We're not gonna talk about Palantir.
Oh, Jesus.
Bro, that's
you guys know that stock's going to the moon, right?
Honestly, after you saw Investor Day and Enphase dumping, the fact that you're not buying that and buying more Palantir makes me worried about your mental health.
No, it really does.
I invested $10,000 in your startup. And
what happened to this expose you guys were going to do on CARP? That never came out.
I did it. I cut it, and this guy is not finalized. Whatever he wanted to do.
Wait, y'all are doing an expose on CARP?
Yeah. I have the video. It's out. As long as you hit the button, man.
No, we got it, but I actually think like it's now been enough time, especially since their earnings, that we either got to redo it or have it.
No. Release it. Let him
release it. I can roast it. Me and Chris can roast it.
Let him roast it, and then we respond with another proper video.
Start some YouTube beef, some drama.
Yeah. I mean, we did it in January.
Like WWE
stock ran up.
Yeah. It's like.
But I think
the stock's back down to January prices. So you guys.
So there you go. Nothing's changed.
It's such a shit company.
Dude, I told you, when fucking that shit ran up to like $10, like, sell some covered calls.
Right now.
Dude, sell some fucking covered calls.
No. If you believe in something, by the way, you hold. I actually agree with that mentality. That's fine. But Amit, you have to stop buying Palantir. You have to start buying these other quality companies and diversify your portfolio, not being so heavy in one thing, because you're betting the farm on one thing. I'm technically betting on a bunch of things. Enphase and Tesla are just like big positions, but I have real estate, I have crypto. I diversify enough where one of them
you're only going to get your 20s once. Like you're only going to get this time now. Like you have so much time is your biggest commodity, not money. It's time.
He's investing in himself, right?
Yeah, but I'm saying outside of that, you have a portfolio and you only have the next 5 or 7 years.
No, screw that. Focus on Odia. Focus on Odia, bro. I want Odia to make me some money,
but
bro.
You don't have to. You don't have to buy Palantir to focus on.
Stop trying to get him to focus on other things, bro. Make me that money, bro. I want some of that money back. Okay, eventually. Hopefully.
No, but 10X. You guys are right. I mean, I do have some cash, right? That I haven't. I've been buying like 30 Palantir shares a week. Nothing crazy, but No, you're right. I think
Well,
Tesla
that's just like burning money every week at this point.
Not
Just giving
burning
it,
money,
you're just giving it to them to the
Well,
inside.
you know why? Because if you're right and it succeeds, you already have a good position,
Yeah.
right?
That's true.
So why do you
That's
need, honestly, I don't understand these people who go all in on anything, because if you have a good stock and it 10, 20, 100 X's on you, believe me, your extra 30 shares ain't going to do shit.
Or I'm
So
sure
you might as
I'm
well-
sure you've done the numbers as to what you think Palantir's market cap will be eventually, right? Where you think now it's time to sell. And I'm sure you've calculated what your share count that you want holding. If you already have that, just forget it and see if it hits that if it hits that market cap.
And this is why I don't actually buy a lot of Tesla anymore. Just like we were talking about, I stopped buying it after it hit the $100. I'm like, I already have enough Tesla. Let me focus on things that are going down, like Enphase, right? Something else that I like.
But are you
Google
buying
and
Enphase
Amazon.
at 200 or you're still waiting till?
No, I am. I am. I have started buying at 220, and I bought again at 205, and I bought again at 190. What did it hit? 198, 187. I bought there, and I have massive buys as it tanks if it does that. But I will just continue dollar cost average now. $200 is a good price, just like you said. It's a fair price. I'm not getting the best deal. I think at 180, 170, I am starting to get a much better deal, and 160 would be like, mwah. I can't wait till 160.
Nice to see 150, 140 again. Yeah.
Well, if that even forget it, I'm just talking about like 160. It has a possibility in the chart to hit. If it has that, I have.
Chris, are you going to buy it or no?
What?
Enphase.
Not yet. No, I'm doing more research. I'm doing more research on it. That's all.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Right now, I think Tesla is a good place to be. Amazon, Google. Before you came, that's what I was.
I mean,
talking
how
to
many
these
more
guys
of these
about.
investor days is it going to take? You know what I'm saying? Or how many more? I don't know. I just don't.
He's gonna go all in when like FSD is announced and
When
it
FS
goes
right,
to
when there's a
4,000.
robo-taxi. and the-
FSD is like
and-
40
and
years away, so I don't have to worry about that.
It's
part.
not
That's-
40 years away, man.
Well,
It's
even
40
if
years
it's
away.
4
I
years
still
away.
think Tesla can like do well, but it is 40 years away.
It is
a
not
lot.
40 years away.
Oh,
It
no,
is
I
not
think it's
40
more like
years
4
away.
or 5 years away. Like
It's not
like,
even
you
4
think
to 5
Full
years away.
self-driving at scale with all the regulations they have to deal with is
not at scale.
years
We're talking
away.
about
No, no,
scale.
no.
in 10
All
to
you
20 years.
being in one city.
No,
does
it's not
count.
10 to 20
Because
years
being in
away.
one city
This
does
is
not count.
ludicrous to think that we're going to still be in 2040 and the cars are going to be, we're driving our own cars.
No,
This is
2040 is
ridiculous.
done, but in 5 years, I expect multiple cities to have full self-driving enabled, and maybe it's only highways. That's the thing. Elon doesn't talk about this as much, but maybe it's only highways that it's going to be allowed in.
That's what people said about Uber as a service. They said they'll never have Uber in the airports. The taxi cabs will never
Right, but
allow
it took
It's
10
like,
years.
Vitaly, no,
It didn't
Carlos,
take
there's
10
a lot.
years
Look,
for
I love
that.
Tesla, but FSD is not as easy as you guys are. Like in 4
Oh my
years,
God.
I'm not saying it's easy. I'm
It's
saying
not
like
about it being easy, but it's about where they're at. They are so far ahead of everybody else. Even if it looks
that
the
doesn't
same from the
matter.
outside.
Yeah,
Blue Cruise
they're
is
better than
not-
Cruise, okay? But that
they're
doesn't mean
way-
that doesn't
No,
mean
it
San
does.
Francisco is going to
I-
let them just.
It does matter how they're getting it, how they're getting the cars to.
Well, the reason it matters, by the way, because you're assuming full self-driving has to take over the world. I'm saying highways are already probably ready. I use autopilot on my car to drive me 80% of the time without any intervention by my part.
too, and all the way to
Besides
Mammoth that way.
Well, besides it wanting me to jiggle the wheel to say that I'm there as a human.
Right, every
it wants
minute or
that.
two, or whatever it was.
But it takes me from all the way somewhere in New Jersey. I won't say where. It takes me from New Jersey to New York, up to the Lincoln Tunnel, almost on autopilot 80% of the way, with very little intervention, just on autopilot. It's not full self-driving.
Man, I
That's
don't
what
know,
I'm saying.
bro.
And
I
we
don't-
still
You're
think that
taking a
5
lot
to
of
10 years
risk.
from now, it's not going to get any better.
Oh no,
It's
hold
gonna
on.
get
I'm
sleep.
watching. I'm actually there monitoring, but
And
it,
it's
I
not
know,
full
I'm just
self-driving,
saying-
bro. You're
bro,
fucking
I've
watching the
seen-
car. Like
I've seen the fucking crazies on the turnpike, bro. I don't know if I could want to fucking trust.
well, no. If a crazy's
yeah.
going to hit you, he's going to hit you whether you're driving or your
That's true.
autopilot's driving.
Yeah, it
So,
doesn't matter. Or the car will,
Yeah.
the car will act. There's a
Usually,
lot
I
of-
think
there's a
Tesla's
lot
going to
of
be
videos
fine,
online
but
of them avoiding
FSD is-
accidents.
FSD is still a pipe dream for I think the next 5-6 years. It's gonna be. It's not that easy, guys. As you guys like.
I think you're saying that just to be
I do.
contrarian and like and rile us up, but I don't think you actually believe
get
that.
maybe Audia should buy a Tesla. You never know,
yeah,
right?
Odia should invest in Tesla.
It wouldn't be such a. It wouldn't be.
I
a
wish
bad
Odia
idea.
took our money and bought Tesla stock at 100. I wish it did that.
Yeah, bro, you'd
Could've
have
doubled
another
our money
couple of
real
years of runway, bro. That's what.
Yeah,
would
yeah, yeah.
happen.
Can we dissolve Odia and just go long on Tesla share? Call options. I'm sorry, call options. 2020.
Yeah, bro.
I'll give you all your
As-
money
as-
back. Invest in
As
Tesla.
the lead investor, I would prefer you just take the money and buy some Tesla with it.
Oh, were you the
I was,
first?
bro, I was thinking, am I allowed?
I was the
I
second.
know Meet Kevin took all
No.
the money he raised and he put it into some T-bills. I feel like I should be allowed to do that. I
You
feel
should.
like
You can do that. You should be putting the money in T-bills, especially if you're not using it in terms of
No, no,
liquidity.
you can get a guaranteed return. That's not
A
gambling.
3 month, A 3-month T-bill is what you should like. If you don't need, okay, here's the thing.
4%,
If you let's say have 300,000 in the bank account, which probably don't, I probably have 250, right? If your capital working needs only requires quarterly, like a certain amount of money, you take that quarterly amount, you put it to the side, and you buy 3-month treasuries, which are yielding like 5.25% right now.
And there's no way you could ever lose money on
No,
a treasury.
no.
Unless the government fails. If the United States government collapses, you lose money. If it doesn't,
Yeah, but then
you make
Audia's
5%.
fucked anyway. Then Audia's fucked anyway.
Yeah,
So
Tesla's screwed. Enphase is screwed. We're all done for. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Luckily for me, I got a mango plantation. So y'all are screwed, but I'll be okay.
I have
I'll
solar
sell
and a generator, so I'm okay as well.
Yeah, I'll be in India eating mangoes, bro.
No, I was
if
thinking
you
of
want
doing
to
that
come
because
through,
when Kevin says he's making like
buying a
50
mango
a month,
farm,
like-
buying a mango farm. No, just kidding.
Let me see. Okay, so let's say 250 grand, right? It's
At
probably
5%.
but 5% for the year is 12,500. Could you use that money?
Yeah, to pay.
Well, I would
something.
have to pay I would have to pay 20% on that in taxes, right?
I mean, dude, if you have operating.
Listen, if you're making
expenses,
money, don't worry about the
you-
taxes. Okay.
Yeah,
No, I know. I'm just
And not to
saying. I'm
mention,
just saying.
you can
So it's
expense
See,
it. You
Palantir
can
has screwed his brain.
yeah.
He's used to losing money, so I'm
No,
gonna
no,
wait.
but you can expense it.
not- yeah.
You can just expense it on operating costs. That's the benefit of having an LLC, right? You could say, well, I spent money on X, Y, and Z. This is my income. This is my expenses. Right
You're
now,
actually
you have
spending
nothing
more than
but
12.5.
expenses.
You're spending more than
Yeah.
12.5. You can easily show that you lost money at the
Yeah.
end.
No, we
Yeah.
just did our taxes, and that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I gave all my expenses that we didn't show any revenue yet, obviously, but I'm like, I can put this money to work. Like, there's no reason I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
no,
just have to
people-
have enough for capital needs short term. The
Right.
other thing is treasuries are very liquid. So if you needed the money, let's say to do something and you don't have enough of it, you could sell the treasury for pretty much the same price you bought it at, right? It's not going to have a lot of like fluctuating risk.
Right.
So yeah, 3-month treasury, you should be rotating in and out of that shit all the time. I
every
mean,
3 months.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
And you probably have a good year or two of doing that while rates are high.
yeah, yeah.
That's true too. It's
Yeah.
favorable for you.
Yeah, I would totally do that, and I would have no problem doing that. In fact, me and Carlos in our business should do something like that.
Yeah, it's been a minute since we've had that conversation strategy, which we should.
Something safe like that. It makes
Okay, last question for the day. Vitaly, what'd you eat at Cheesecake Factory over the weekend?
Hibachi steak, man, and I got a new cheesecake I tried.
Was it a
I
good
tried-
one?
No, it wasn't that good. It was like it's like the truffle layer chocolate thing.
Okay.
Wasn't that good. But I'm trying new things now. I'm expanding. But I'm gonna stick to the classics from now. Tiramisu and Linda's fudge cake. Those are the best ones.
I concur. That's good.
I like the Reese's one. That's the best.
Dude, I don't know if you guys. I mean, I think Carlos, you said you've been to Cancun, but dude, if y'all can go.
Wait, how was Mexico, bro? I didn't get to ask. you.
Oh, dude, it was awesome. I'm retiring in Mexico. I'm retiring there. It was awesome. Literally could not have asked for a better trip. I'll send you some. I'll send you
Did you
some.
bring the
videos
wife
and
on this
stuff.
one?
Yeah. It was my brother-in-law's wedding. So yeah,
Oh.
we had a great time. We had a
I was
great
there.
time.
I was in Cancun twice, and then I actually went to a wedding in Puerto Vallarta on the other side, and it's also
Yeah.
equally beautiful. The water there is just super clear. The food was
Dude,
pretty
I
good.
could. And this is gonna sound really fucked up, but I'll say it at the risk of just saying
Sounding
it.
racist.
Bro, Mexicans are fucking awesome builders. Okay, like, dude, if you've seen the pyramids there, 5,000 years later, the goddamn pyramids look like there's nothing wrong with them. I'm
Those
telling you,
are-
they're awesome.
Those Mexicans,
Awesome.
those are the Mayans.
Mayans, Mexicans, whatever you want to call them these days.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
care. They're the same thing, man.
the Tesla
Yeah.
factory is going to be a bunch of pyramids.
Right, right.
Someone
just
just said
saying.
Amit needs an advisor to help him pick shirts. Y'all are mean. Fuck y'all.
Damn, a hater's gonna hate.
Well, we didn't
Take
answer
something
any
off.
questions. Was there anything good and mean? Amit says.
You need to
Chris,
do
how
more
long were you there? You
outdoor-
were there for a week?
A
Mexico?
week, yeah. Yep. Dude, the weather. If you saw the fucking water in Mexico, oh God. It's blue, man.
Yeah,
Never seen
it's
bluer
so
water.
blue. It's and I mean this
Yeah.
was going back a few years.
But do you think you
Right.
could be there for like 20 years retired and not
Yes.
get bored? Wouldn't you get bored
Yes.
every day? Like, wouldn't you?
No,
No,
no.
no.
Because you're thinking about what it would be like for you now. You have all these ideas, you have all this energy. You got to look at it when you're say 40.
Yeah,
Dude,
we have no
if-
energy.
If
You've
this whole-
expended most of the energy that you want to expend in terms of your career, and especially if you've got a decent bank account, you're just not gonna want to work. You don't realize how much of what fuels you every day is because you want to be rich. If you're already rich,
you want to succeed in something, and once you've
Yeah.
succeeded in something, even to a good extent, that's it. And the last thing I'll end with, Sonny Coates finally told us how much cash he has in our Enphase Discord, by the way. And I won't say it here, but he basically admitted, and I'm jealous, Sonny.
Wait. Well, hold on. How much is it? Is it?
You got to
it in
go
the
read the
billions?
Discord thread. We were talking about it, and
All
it's
right, hold on.
Is it 7 figures?
it is over 10 mil for sure. Sonny, you're a lucky man. I'll visit you in Florence.
Wait. Is this all because of Enphase? Is it all because
Enphase
of
at
Enphase?
$1 or whatever he bought it at? Yep. Apparently he bought a lot more than I originally thought. And me and Carlos calculated it one day on our podcast.
and it wasn't.
We were wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. We were so off. So anyone who wants to join our Discord who's not part of it, the 23 people watching this right now,
10 million? How old
26.
is Sonny?
he's in his
Probably the 30s,
40s.
30s. No, I wouldn't say he doesn't look like he's in his 40s.
So Sonny, I'm not telling people what you have, but you put it in the Enphase Discord, so there you go. It's there now. Unless you erase it, of course.
I don't
Yeah.
want to look at it, bro. I'm gonna feel bad, bro.
I didn't
made a
feel bad.
little-
I was like, oh my God, if I ever get to that state, I don't think I'd be on a
Wait,
Discord.
so
talking to
hold on.
guys.
You really think at like 45 or 50 or whatever, you wouldn't have the drive to do something? You would just be fine chilling all day.
No,
Depends
I'm
on
going to
the-
be doing my own thing. I'm going to be doing my
Yeah.
own thing. I do have a thing I do, which is I love making movies, but I'll be making them because I want to make them, not to be rich off of them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like Odea is
I like
meant to
reading.
make people rich. I hope so. I hope that's the point of this.
Yeah, I like reading.
I just couldn't
I'd
imagine
love
being
to
on a
just-
beach
yeah.
all day. That's my only thing.
No, you don't have to be on the
But you
beach.
wouldn't be on
Yeah.
you wouldn't be on a beach all day. And you have to understand too, the circle of friends that you're around when you're at that in that tier is just it's a different level. It's
Yeah.
everything's a
The,
different
the
level.
other thing is you need to have like, okay, this trip to Cancun was amazing, but it's pretty much because a lot of family and friends were there. Like I saw a lot of people that were just couples there too that didn't have any like, yeah, I would agree with you on that, Amit. If you don't have like a core group of friends that you can enjoy your life with, it becomes kind of pointless. It kind of becomes redundant too. Like imagine right now you go on a cruise and you go on by yourself. It would suck. But if you went with like a couple of friends, a couple of, like my wife, and like the best vacations that I've ever been on has been with our friends and my wife, like, and our family friends. Like you just have so much to do. You have, you can talk about stuff versus if you just go in there. And some people are naturally just gifted at talking to people too, and they can strike up a conversation. So if you have that kind of natural pizzazz to just randomly go up to people and make friends, that's, you're fine too. Like I know a bunch of people that in college, they'll do that where they'll go and do like backpacking through Europe. I could never
Oh
fucking
no,
do
but
that.
that's the freedom when you have enough cash. You can I'll backpack this week. I'll go stay at a fancy hotel the next week. It's experience. Isn't that the point of life? Like experience. When you say laying on a beach, I also don't find that interesting. But going to new places, meeting new people, doing new things. I think that's what money opens up. That's the whole point of living. Everyone who's just collecting dollars to collect them, I think that's a waste of time. There's no point to it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like right now, I'm shooting this thing, not because technically, like we talked about, that I have to. I could technically not do it, but it's also nice to go do something that you really like doing, even if it's 16 hours a day.
What's your hobby? What's your hobby? Like, what do you like to do outside of trying to make Audia work and trying to make me money? That's sad.
Bitches.
That's the fact that you don't have an answer is kind of sad, bro. Like you got to come up with
Trying to
some
solve
hobby.
this shit, trying to figure this one
Bro,
out.
that's sad, man. Come on. Just
He's like,
We need to
Bro,
take-
I don't even
I
have
play the
time. The
skin
reason I
flute.
couldn't do this fucking what'd you say, Vitaly?
I play the skin flute all day.
The reason I couldn't do the podcast today is because I was in a fucking meeting for the past 2 hours with my co-founder. It's just, I don't know, bro. I don't know if I have a hobby. I guess,
just don't burn yourself out. You need to figure
bro,
out.
I am way
something
past
to
burned. My
decompress.
motherfucker, I have a third
He's
degree
ashes.
burn on
He's
every part of my
ashes.
body.
You know what?
This is literally
First of all,
ashes.
you should scale down the Palantir weekly. That would save you a
So
lot.
what? Less
It's
than
1
once a
hour
month?
a week. It's like,
It looks-
that's
yeah,
not
I was
the
gonna say, like,
issue.
what is it gonna be?
Okay, well,
Once a
definitely
month?
SoFi Weekly does not have enough good news that you need a SoFi Weekly. I don't know what you talk about SoFi every week. Every time I turn that fucking podcast on, I have to turn it off 2 seconds after.
We talked about The Weeknd. He put SoFi on his album. That was news. We talked.
It's like the worst because
Bro, it's a fucking bank. It's a bank.
It's a bank. It's not that interesting. Just I'm buying it too, but it's just not that interesting. Okay.
I know. So we figure out a way to. They were talking about a golden cross the other day, and I made this joke. I was like, "Does a golden cross have anything to do with a golden shower?" And they were about to kick me off the podcast, but I was like, "Guys, that was funny. Like, come
Were
on."
they?
That was
Oh
funny.
man, that's sad. Sad. Not this podcast. You would be applauded.
See, I was like, we lightened the mood up. We made people laugh. It was funny. But no, bro, I'm way past beyond burned out because the reality of realizing that trying to get a startup to become big is like 1 in a trillion. And so you have to put everything in there to like make it happen.
Just remember, it's a marathon. It's not a
I agree.
foot race,
I agree.
man. You need
No,
to
I remind myself of that every day.
if you
and you don't have VCs backing you, so you don't have us nagging you every day about where the fuck is my return. I assume you don't. So you should focus on the important things to make your business better, not just everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
I
keep
was on
your
a call
mental
today
health.
with one of our investors from Singapore. He invested 25K, and we were on a call this morning, and he was just super nice about everything. He was just like, I mean, he didn't give a shit about the return. He was just like,
I think everybody knows they burned their money. I feel like that's what they all think.
No, but he's just super inspired by what I'm doing, and if we can get Jason and all this stuff. So like, every investor has been so supportive. I can't even complain. Now it's just a question of like, I really want to give you motherfuckers a return, and I want to build this, as Carlos said.
But
energy.
Isn't that going to take a decade? This is what I'm assuming.
Yes, but we got to get from point A to point B, right? We got to get from the pre-seed to the seed round. So that's on my mind. It's like, how do we get to the seed round and then eventually keep going? But it's just hard.
All I know is on the secondary market, I'm selling all my shares as soon as I 10x.
just focus on the product, dude. Don't even focus on other things. If you focus on the product and make it the best thing possible, the other money will just come in. People themselves will throw money at you. So just focus on the product. If the product is good,
users and product, that's it.
Yeah. People will come to you and say, "Hey, I have money. Do you want some of it? Because I want to be a part of your journey." And I think all of us, we signed up not necessarily for the product. We signed up to be part of your dream. Right. At least that's what I told my wife. I was like, "Babe, I don't know if we're going to be paid back. It's fine." And she said, "It's all good. Whatever. Just, as long as you're willing to pursue that and you've got the drive, do it." But the only thing I'll tell you right now is don't go too crazy to the point where you burn yourself out and then your mental health goes down the toilet, dude.
Well, and then the company goes down the toilet too. So
yeah.
If you don't have a hobby, you should find one. Find something that you like to do that's outside
block of time that's for you, like whatever. Between this time and this time, I do something for me.
Yeah. Or maybe something physical, whether it's running, physical fitness. There's something good about dedicating time to your body.
Yeah.
Yep.
100%.
Okay. That's our pod. 2 hours long. It's supposed to be an hour.
Jesus, I know. We gotta go.
Into a therapy session at the end. It was great. I love it.
But you just came and crashed it. It's the pod crasher.
Well, I admit, we don't do any work. Just take the pod and put some clips of it on your channel because we suck at that. Just do that.
I'll tell you what you need to do. You need to wait it out, let the market correct a little bit, and then fucking do a SPAC, and then get the fuck out. That's it.
Make the investors the 10x.
We need to fucking do that. We need to get into the SPAC.
I want a SPAC.
Pump Audia like there is no tomorrow, and then do Chamath. Chamath style.
Let's get Palahapati on this right away.
He's a smart motherfucker, bro. He pumped SoFi up the ass. It was a smart open
and then
door,
he fucking
dumped. He dumped too. And I think $15, $20. I forgot when he dumped.
No, he dumped only 15%. He still has 85% of it. Still
Virgin Galactic. He dumped his entire thing.
Yeah, that one he dumped like a motherfucker. That was good.
Yeah. Okay, guys, we got to go. Let's do this.
Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.
Next week.